Longtime Brockton football coach Armin Colombo was hoisted by his players after clinching his 300th victory back in 2003. The win punctuating a career that included 9 Super Bowl appearances as head coach and 2 as an assistant to his son, Peter. With 9 state titles, countless league honors, and a team that was nationally ranked during their prime, Armin was inducted into the Hall of Fame at Brockton High School, Stonehill College, and the Massachusetts High School Football Coaches Association. He is ranked second all-time amongst winning coaches in Massachusetts. Colombo quarterbacked an undefeated Brockton team and played in the Orange Bowl in 1948. His achievements on the field were impressive for sure, but his work in the classroom, the locker room, and his infamous office in the basement of the Arthur Staff Gymnasium might have been most valuable. Colombo was more than just a football coach. He was a life coach. He helped boys become men, guiding thousands of young gentlemen, drawing up game plans for success in the game of life, and his class of over 35 teams defined his legacy. There is no doubt that Armin is smiling down on the field that bears his name as the Boxers host Bridgewater-Raynham for the right to raise the Cape Cod Cafe Cup. Coming up next, it's the Trojans and the Boxers on Brockton Community Access and Bridgewater Television.
Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, football fans of all ages, this is Rocky Marciano Stadium, home of the Brockton Boxers, and today it plays host to the 9th annual Cape Cod Cafe Cup. The Bridgewater-Raynham Trojans come to Brockton for the annual Thanksgiving Day matchup. I'm Mad Dog Matt Nelson, joined alongside Big Game Miles Jackson and Brian Berard up here in the booth. We'll have Newbie Rateau down on the field. Guys, it's Turkey Day, it's high school football. The two things go hand in hand.
Yeah, it's also freezing out there, too, and luckily we're in the press box, not, away from all these people. But, Thanksgiving Day, the rivalry continues here with Bridgewater-Raynham and Brockton. Can't wait to see what they put out in the field here today.
Yeah, I tell you, like Brian said, it is a very cold day and very windy, so I don't look for a lot of passing. I look for a lot of ground game coming out of here this afternoon. I think the team that makes the least mistakes as far as fumbles, things like that, will come out on top.
Well, it is cold, as you guys alluded to. This game kicking off, it's a whopping 13 degrees out there. Senior day here for the Brockton Boxers, so we get to hear all the names of the marching band, cheerleaders, color guard, halftime dancers, football team.
Well, I tell you, Matt, these you got to hats off to the Brockton High band, marching band, and any bands around Massachusetts today because, they only have so much clothing on, and they got the instruments, and it's cold, and they got to blow those things. So hats off to our Brockton High School band.
Yeah, and of course, several teams playing last night to try to avoid the cold. You even had a few games playing at Fenway Park. Mansfield and Foxborough went to triple overtime at Fenway Park. But it's cold, it's windy out there, and I understand why some teams moved to last night. But you even saw the Braintree and Milford game. They wanted to go to Wednesday night, too, and within about 30 minutes, I think the whole town of Braintree had an uproar, so they moved it back to Thanksgiving morning. So it's cold, but, I understand why some of the teams played last night, but Thanksgiving Day is meant to be played on Thanksgiving Day.
The Malden High School marching band decided to pack it up at halftime. It was so cold, I guess someone's lips froze to their brass instrument.
That'll do it.
One of the most notable seniors on his last Thanksgiving Day here, Vinny Macrina, who has decided to hand over the reins of the marching band to some of the other staff members in the Brockton High Music Department, contemplating retirement at the end of the year. As we get ready to hear the Brockton High School Marching Band at least attempt the national anthem in 13-degree weather.
Yeah, well, hey, we've got the Memorex recording. Everything's given. Is it live or is it Memorex?
Favorite part of the annual Thanksgiving Day game is the team-up of BTV and BCA.
Of course, you had to get to combine our production trucks, send some video, get 8,000 cameras going. It's always a good time. You know, learn some other things.
NBC showed up. They're going to learn how to do a real production.
Yeah, NBC 10
with
Boston
what we
showed
got
up
going
here
on
today. It's one of the best games that you're going to see, really, in southeastern Massachusetts. It's Brockton and Bridgewater-Raynham. I mean, every year these teams, you know, usually make a deep run into the postseason.
Yeah, Brian, and now that they have been playing for quite a number of years now, they've gotten to a little rivalry. What is it? The home cafe,
Cape Cod Cafe Cup.
So that takes a little pride into winning this football game.
Quite the chalice they got going on in the award ceremony after the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Quite the trophy you got there. You can pour some stuff in there if you want to.
We haven't seen much of it on the Brockton side.
And I think 2012, the one time that the Boxers have won the Cape Cod Cafe Cup here at Marciano Stadium.
The Trojans come in with a good advantage here. It's 7-1 in favor of the Trojans. Of course, the one matchup between these two teams coming in that span that actually meant anything was the playoff matchup a couple years ago where the Boxers eliminated the Trojans from MIAA playoff contention. Trojans got revenge on Turkey Day.
Yes, indeed, and that's what makes this game, as the years go by, even more meaningful. It looks like Bridgewater-Raynham's coming out.
So we await the teams to take the field.
And Matt, like I said, you can see the wind blowing the flag, so it's going to be a very windy, cold day. It's going to be tough for the quarterbacks unless the wind is behind them to pass that football. Then the receivers have to catch it. There you go, the comparison.
There you go. The this season's record, Brockton with the advantage, 5-4 over the Trojans, 3-6. The Cape Cod Cafe Cup record. Well, we don't want to talk about that on the Brockton side. The Boxers 1-7.
As you mentioned, though, on the bottom of the screen there, the one game that really meant something was back in 2015 with the playoff victory. Bridgewater-Raynham actually, I think, had the 6-3 lead going into the fourth quarter, and you had a long pass play from Brockton to actually seal that victory.
It's the annual team meeting dinner, or whatever you want to call it.
Isn't that what they usually do?
The Wing Bowl down at Cape Cod Cafe.
I mean, the first time I saw a video of that, I was just in awe of just the amount of wings that both teams just fly through. I'm sitting there going, I'm just getting sick watching these two go at it. But I mean, in high school, I guess you know, acid reflux isn't really part of your life at that point. Heartburn really hasn't caught up to you yet, and so they can recover quickly. I mean, us here in our age, I don't know if it's going to work out well in our favor if we try that, but man, they're animals when they go after that stuff.
And then they wash it down with a nice pizza.
and a Diet Coke.
And a Diet Coke, because they're watching their figure.
Yes, exactly. Don't want to take in too much of that sugar. I must say, though, I like these Brockton uniforms. The camouflage.
The camo jerseys with the white numbers, maroon pants, Boxer decal on the side of the maroon helmets for the Trojans. White jerseys with a blue-red gradient lettering system, red pants and helmets.
Yeah, we always mention this in every BR home broadcast. It's the blue-red gradient on a red jersey makes it darn near impossible to see their numbers, but now that they have the white jerseys, it's much easier to see them, so thank God that they're wearing those white jerseys today.
Yeah, this is Brockton's second time this year, Matt, that they've donned the camouflage type of uniforms.
Here is the Brockton High School Marching Band for the National Anthem. Impressive as always, the band got through it in one piece, in all 13 degrees.
Yeah, especially with the wind going right through you. I think at one point you just stop feeling things in your body and you just keep going on. But, excellent job from the band as always. And, of course, we mentioned Vinny McCrena's last halftime shows, last everything pretty much this year before handing over the reins of the Brockton Marching Band.
Well, if the last couple of weeks are any indication of what we're going to see from the Boxers today, they put up 34 points against Taunton, 42 against Barnstable, and that, of course, both happening after the passing of longtime head coach Armin Colombo, who we saw a tribute to open our coverage of today's game. Miles, talk about Armin's legacy, what it means to Boxer football.
Yes, it does, and I'm sure it means a lot today on Thanksgiving Day for so many decades. Coach Colombo, Armin Colombo, has been out here, and he's not going to be out here for the first time. So it'll be emotional for the coaching staff, for his son, and for the players. I'm sure they want to do well. And what helps them today, as far as the offense go, like I said, they put up a lot of points the last couple of games. So hopefully that'll carry into this football game today.
And the running game really has been the Boxers' bread and butter all season. Amik Watterson, Derek Williams, Johnny Horn, the list goes on and on and on for the Boxers.
Yeah, like you said, Weatherspoon. Is it Weatherspoon or
Weatherspoon?
Watterson. Watterson, yes, excuse me, Watterson. He's done a great job these last 2 or 3 games carrying the ground attack for these Boxers.
And it's the same thing goes for Bridgewater-Raynham. I think a lot of that also in high school football. The ground game's really going to take it. And Anthony Morrison is the quarterback here for Bridgewater-Raynham. We always see in these games, Coach Bjorn likes to throw some wrinkles in the offense, throw some passing plays, some odd formations. See if he can get something going with his legs and in his arm today.
Well, the name of the game is going to be staying loose and trying to stay warm on the Boxer sideline. We can see players doing jumping jacks, just trying to not cramp up. The coin toss. The Boxers have won the toss and elected to receive, so they will start the game off with possession as we get set to go here in the 9th edition of the Cape Cod Cafe Cup. The Boxers trying to draw it ever closer to that 500 benchmark. They've got a long way to go.
Yeah, slowly but surely, just got to chip away at it. Of course, after the game, you got Tuxedos by Marion, the MVPs for both teams. Last year for Brockton, it was Doranville, who's actually had quite the season in his freshman campaign for Bridgewater State University. Of course, BSU coming off of a New England Bowl victory over Salve Regina last Saturday. At one point, BSU had a 34-5 lead. I know that's your very normal football score, a 34-5 lead. Salve Regina kind of came storming back, but Bridgewater State was able to hold them off. But Doranville actually, I think, twice got MASCAC Freshman Defensive Player of the Week for Bridgewater State. So quite a successful rookie campaign for the defensive end here from Brockton.
I was very interested to see what position he decided to stick with in college because he was tight end and defensive end for the Boxers.
Yeah, you see more in college. They kind of stick to one side of the ball. I know even at Division III, sometimes very rarely will they play on both sides of the ball, but he's been on that defensive line for Bridgewater State all season.
Same thing with Albert Louis Jean a number of years ago, graduated class of 2011 from Brockton High. And he went off to BC, and they decided to stick him at cornerback. But he was the Boxers' number 1 wideout all 4 years.
All 4 years.
BR getting ready to kick off. The wind has blown the ball off of the tee, so we're off to a good start. Back to receive Watterson and a Johnny Horn. And now the Trojans are going to have someone hold the ball on the tee.
That just goes to show you how windy it is out here today, so that makes the temperature factor go down.
Short kick, dropping at the 22-yard line, and it's going to go out of bounds. Flag on the Trojans.
Yeah, start the ball at the 35-yard line. You're going to see a lot of that, too. I mean, which is odd, though, because they had the wind at their back. They really could have sent that thing up in the air and just let the wind take it. But try a little pooch kick, see if you can draw them a little off guard.
We're going to do it again.
Or just do it again. Yeah, sure. So again, slowly but surely, we'll get there.
Like one of the Bridgewater players crossed the line before the kicker kicked the football. 5-yard penalty.
Yep, so now they'll kick it off from the 35 as opposed to the 40, the kick going out of bounds on the first attempt. The wind blowing towards the BR sideline and very, very heavy. This one a low squibber that is fielded by Navon Reed. Reed picks it up and still on his feet. He'll be brought down at the 38-yard line. That's where we'll have the first look of the day at Michael Norman, the Boxers quarterback who had quite the performance down at Barnstable. The Boxers, seems like anyway, they went for about 500 yards in that one, both through the air and on the ground.
Yeah, that gives them a lot of confidence going into this Turkey Day game.
99 yards through the air last week against Barnstable, 285 on the ground.
Wow. That's a pretty good day.
Norman to pass. He's got number 39. That is Rodrigo Lima making the first reception of the day for the Brockton Boxers.
I think he was trying to go a little bit more downfield by that first down marker, but Bridgewater-Raynham defensively got back there, so that's why he had to dump it off into the flat and actually lost a yard.
And actually they had number 88, I believe he's a tight end for the Boxers. He was deeper in the route, more to the first down marker, and he looked like he was open, but I think the pass was definitely intended for the back coming out of the backfield.
Trips to the far side. Norman under center. The lone back is Amik Watterson, rather. He gets the pitch out. He's hit, spins off the tackle, and he's brought down for a big loss of 5. It'll be third and about 16.
That was a nice stiff arm there. That's Jeff Ciccio trying to get into the backfield. Ciccio is one of the bright spots of this Bridgewater-Raynham team. He's already got some scholarship offers from Fordham, Maine, a couple of D1 schools. I know UConn and Michigan were showing some interest in Ciccio, big receiver. Looked for him to use him in the slot offensively today.
Well, I tell you, excuse me, Brian, he looked very good getting into that backfield. That was a big-time loss right there with CC getting in there and making the tackle.
Watterson, the lone back, trips to the far side, clean for the Boxers on their own sideline. Watterson brought down behind the line again, and this drive now stands at a 4th and 20. The Boxers did not have a positive gain on those 3 plays.
No, and you could see the offensive line was that particular series where they were manhandled by Bridgewater there. Bridgewater, nice penetration by that front line of theirs on that particular drive.
Yeah, see Brockton on that drive, they were trying to spread that defense thin. The first play, dump off to the flat, trying to get runs to the outside, just not trying to run up the middle, but Bridgewater-Raynham up the middle there, just overpowering that Brockton offensive line.
Carlin's Gene punting away, and it got lost somewhere in the wind, and it finds its way out of bounds at the 35-yard line of the Boxers.
Yeah, he was punting into the wind, and the wind just took that right back.
Brian, a net punt of 5 yards.
That's not really what you want to see.
It's a bold strategy.
Well, it's hard, with the wind up there, too, and the ball feels like a brick, of course, with the temperature. But, you see a lot of times they'll do the rugby-style kick. They'll run out to the right, run out to the left, depending on if they're righty or lefty, and just try to get a spiral and cut through the wind as much as you possibly can.
So the Trojans take over at the Boxers' 35-yard line. For those keeping score at home, that is behind where the Boxers' original line of scrimmage was on their first drive of the game. Pass complete.
Ooh, nice tackle.
It's number 7 on the reception, Anthony Dobebe.
They have Austin Hartzell as their quarterback today to start off that drive, not Anthony Morrison. Hartzell, usually they'll use him as a receiver, here and there. Of course, he's your backup quarterback, but they're using him today. And you've seen, actually, Brockton had offside, and they're going to decline that penalty. But you've seen Thanksgiving Day, Bjorn likes to just kind of throw some wrinkles at you, just see what you have for next year.
Especially, thank you, MIAA. This game doesn't mean anything.
Well, the MIAA actually did agree to kind of restructure their playoff format, if I read it correctly. I think they're going to get rid of 3 divisions, go from 8 to 5 now in football.
I'm sure that has a lot to do with the possible merger of the OCL and the Big Three.
I don't think it's possible. I think it's going to happen. I think it's in the OCL. You've been waiting for Barnstable to join a Cape League, and that's really, I think, the reason why the OCL has been staying together for so long. But I love the idea of Dartmouth and BR joining the Big Three, making a Big Five or whatever you want to call that conference. I think we were just kind of waiting on Barnstable to make that Cape League, with Falmouth and Wareham and Bourne and those teams.
The teams that actually make sense for them to be in a league with? Good defense by the Boxers on that third down. It's going to be close to the first down marker, depending on the spot. And it looks like it's going to be enough for a Trojan first down.
Well, Brockton's been doing a good job on Bridgewater's running game. They've gotten a yard here, yard there, but
First and 10 for the Trojans. I formation, 1 receiver to each sideline. Back to pass. Got number 19, Kyle Duggan, just out of reach.
yeah, Kyle had him beat by about a step and a half. Definite timing play right there. Good time to throw it because the wind is to his back a little bit. Kind of all over the place, but it's definitely to Bridgewater's back at the moment. This is the time to pass if you're going to pass.
Brian Hartzell's made a couple of good throws on this drive.
Yes.
Yeah, so far, I mean, he came in a couple of games this year for Bridgewater-Raynham as they pitch it out to Morrison, who's normally their quarterback. But, the Bridgewater-Raynham, they have receivers. You have Shane Fries, you have Hartzell, you have Ceccio. I mean, there's a lot of receiver threats that Coach Buren has for this year's offensive team.
Yeah, you can see here on the replay, the play developed very nicely for Bridgewater-Raynham.
It's another first down for the Trojans.
Yep.
They're on the 14-yard line of the Boxers, drawing closer to the goal line. Hartzell under center. Number 44 stacked up immediately. That's Nolan Anderson. No gain.
Anderson's another fullback that they like to use. And last year's offense and a couple of years ago, they had Bryce Shaw in that role for Bridgewater-Raynham, the fullback that they would kind of do quick hitters for. And now, of course, Bryce Shaw playing at the Naval Academy this year. So Bridgewater-Raynham likes to use that fullback, kind of throw you off guard. A lot of times they'll also do a fake handoff to their fullback and pitch it to the outside, just to kind of throw some trickery at the defense.
One lone wide out to the near side. Hartzell under center. Drops back to pass. Into double coverage, and strong safety was in the area for the Boxers. It falls incomplete, and the Trojans wide receiver looks hurt. It's number 7, Anthony Dobebe.
Yeah, you can see right here. He tripped over one of the Boxer players who fell down.
And that's not going to feel good to when you fall today, too. I can't
No.
imagine there's no give to that turf.
That's right, yeah.
Hartzell pitches out and brought down at the line of scrimmage was number 19, Kyle Duggan.
Big third down hold right there for the Boxers. You'll see it here on the replay.
Rather, that was number 15, Anthony Morrison.
Yeah, Morrison, a player for the Trojans that plays anywhere, quarterback, running back. He's returned some punts and kicks this year, and we always kind of think that's crazy that you have your quarterback doing that, but then you realize that they're in high school and that they can get back from injuries much faster than we can. I mean, the other day I fell down my steps coming out of my house, and I think I'm still on the DL. It brings up now 4th and long here. Of course, you see in high school there really is no special teams, especially
I
with
wouldn't
the
want to
wins.
kick it today.
No. So that's why, you're in 4-down territory, and, you're just trying to get, 4 or 5 yards on 3rd down to set up a 4th and manageable. But now when you have a 4th and 11, they're going to throw the ball. So Brockton can, set up a pretty good pass defense right here.
Well, let me ask you, Brian, how's Bridgewater-Raynham's field goal kicking game been this year?
Well, every year they, at the beginning of the year they start off well, and then the extra points they'll miss them here and there, as every high school kicker would. But the Bridgewater-Raynham really hasn't attempted a field goal this year. As a matter of fact, I don't think they have. I think they've only really attempted extra points, and that's it. Coach Bjorn really, in the past few years, really hasn't had that much of a kicker other than George Lampros a few years ago against Wellesley in the Division II or 1A or whatever they call the division a few years ago, hit I think a 45-yard field goal on the road. Other than having Lampros, he really hasn't had a kicker in a long time.
Yeah.
Well, especially when you see how the first couple of kickoff attempts went. One almost straight out of bounds, and the other was a squib. So,
and as we mentioned, I'm sure kicking that ball today is going to feel like kicking a brick too. So it's not going to feel nice.
you just got to get a couple of extra pairs of socks.
Or just get a steel-toe boot.
All right, 4th and 11 for the Trojans. 2 wideouts. Hartzell under center, Morrison in the backfield. Hartzell back to pass. He's in trouble. He's going to heave it up and out of reach. I think that was Morrison that got up, and it's a turnover on downs.
Yeah, that was nice pressure by the Brockton defense coming in there. There were 2 Brockton defenders coming right down on quarterbacks. You can see it right there. Sheds his block and gets right in there. Big number 88 for the Boxers.
Well, it was cold and windy down on the Cape last couple of weeks ago now for the Boxers. That game happening November 9th. No game last week. The Boxers started off slow. 1 touchdown in the first quarter. And then they put up 21 in the second. So the Boxers are a team this year that has started off slow. And then as the game progresses, they turn on the jets.
A lot of times, too, you just, trying to see the matchups, you run your game, and that really goes back to good coaching, making those in-game adjustments where okay, this run's not going to work, this play's not going to work. All right, hey, we've been trying to run to the right this whole time. That's not really work. Let's try to run to the left, try to run to the middle. In-game adjustments are really going to be huge for coaching. And it seems like Peter Colombo's doing some good work of that this year.
Lameek Watterson really is at his strongest when he's running between the tackles, right up the gut, lowering the shoulder, laying down some punishment. And he gets the give now. Right up the middle, Lameek Watterson for a gain of about 4. It'll be 3rd and we'll call it 5. Hurry up offense for the Boxers.
Ooh.
3.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Still scoreless.
I think we're getting attacked by aliens up here.
A little technical work by our TV crew.
It's just a little TV snow.
I think that was going over the PA system. When in doubt, blame aliens.
The speakers are even rebelling against the cold today.
Even they're saying that.
Right now we got a defensive battle. Bridgewater-Raynham held on that 3rd down situation. Now Brockton's going to have to punt into the wind.
Carlin's Gene back to punt for the Boxers. High snap, he bobbles it, and now he's in trouble. He's going to have to attempt it.
Nice.
And it gets to the 30, all the way to the 33. We'll call that a decent recovery for
Yes, he was
Carlin's
on the
Gene.
run.
Yeah, absolutely. And I had mentioned that on the first drive. I'm sure that wasn't by design. You try to do that rugby punt. You're kind of
Right.
using your momentum. And the fact that he even got that punt off,
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing.
It was amazing because he had some heat coming on him.
Marching band is starting to figure out that if they dance and move around,
Yeah.
they might have a chance at staying a little bit warm.
You can see right there,
Take a look at the
the football's
Box
very
punt.
hard. The handle, he did a great job just getting something off. Put the ball about the 32, 33-yard line.
Hartzell back to pass. He's in trouble. He
A
loses
fumble.
it. The ball is out. Bridgewater-Raynham recovers, but about 20 yards back of the line of scrimmage. I was looking at the wrong stick. It's about 10 yards back of the line of scrimmage.
You'll see it right here, Matt. Big pressure by the boxes coming in. That's Reed again, Navon.
It's going to be a second and about 17.
Yeah, Navon Reed, number 88, is making his presence early on in this football game.
Hartzell rolling out. Pass complete and a first down for the Trojans. A big gain.
Wow, that was a big play right there.
Found Nolan Anderson, your fullback, just kind of coming underneath right in front of your linebackers, not expecting him to go out for a route. He's wide open there, makes some nice yards after the catch.
See right there, nice catch, and goes straight up the field for first down a little bit more. And now a 44 for the Bridgewater got hurt there a little bit.
I think we're going to see a lot of that today. People getting tackled and getting up a little bit slow.
I'll do my best. No, I'll make sure. I just haven't been down by that. I don't blame you.
Power eye, no wide receivers as the pitch out to Morrison, and he's got a gain of about 4.
Yeah, pitch out to Morrison right there. He thought he saw a hole, so he made a quick jump up the middle, up the field, I should say. Saw that it was closed pretty quick, so he jumps back out to the outside, gains about 3 or 4 yards. Good quick decision right there from Morrison, as we mentioned, who's normally the quarterback for the Trojans.
Yeah, you can see on the replay, Brockton did a nice job of recovering to make sure that play didn't go any further than what it did. Good pursuit by the right side of that defense.
1 minute to go in quarter number 1. To give to Morrison right up the gut. He's got a gain of about 2.
Yes, run to the right side, run behind that right guard. That's where you send your fullback out to. Get another lead blocker out there. Actually, a pretty good job from Brockton, not allowing a huge hole. He only got about 2 or 3 yards on the carry.
So it'll be third and long 4. About 4.5 to go for the Trojans. Time winding down here in the first quarter. About 20 seconds to go. To give to Morrison. And he is stopped after another gain of 2. So it'll be fourth and about 1.5 yards.
And that brings up 4th and manageable now. As we mentioned the last time BR had 4th down, it was 4th and 11. He had to try and get a pass play out there. It wasn't successful, and they turned it over on downs. Now you have a 4th and 1.
Yeah.
Now the playbook's wide open for Coach Biron.
End of the first quarter, we are scoreless between the Bridgewater-Raynham Trojans and the Brockton Boxers here in the 9th edition of the Cape Cod Cafe Cup. Brian, what have you seen from the Trojans that gives you hope that they'll draw blood first, and then we'll go to Miles on the Boxers side of things?
Well, it's because of Bridgewater-Raynham winning the field position battle right now. I mean, both of their drives have started inside the 50-yard line, and they've been able to move the ball on Brockton so far. And I think that's what gives you hope for BR, is that they haven't really had to drive the entire field yet.
Miles, what does Brockton have to do to start getting their offense together?
Well, first of all, they have to get some good field position. They've had horrible field position that whole first quarter that they had the football. So if they can get some good field position, it might open up the play calling a little bit. They have to be careful when they're deep in their own territory. So hopefully they can open it up in the second quarter.
It is going to be a 4th and about 3 chain links.
Well, this is where you probably see Hartzell run up the middle right behind that offensive line, try to get a quick snap and get that first down for the Trojans. Of course, this drive for BR started all the way back on the 42-yard line. Excuse me, the 32-yard line. Then they had that botched snap when went down to the 42-yard line. That pickup by Anderson went all the way down inside the red zone.
So they're going to bring it out to the hash marks to measure again. I don't think there was much controversy with that one. It's clearly about half a foot short. So it'll officially be 4th and 1. So we change sides of the field. The Trojans, more than likely, Brian, going to run right up the gut here.
Yeah, I expect a QB sneak, and unless if Hartzell sees something that he likes and hands it off to Morrison off tackle, I expect to run up the middle, or maybe even go to Nolan Anderson. I mean, there's so many options that this Trojans offense can do, especially when they're running the ball.
And you can see Bridgewater-Raynham comes out with a very tight offensive formation.
They've gone no receivers on the last 3 offensive plays the Trojans have. Same thing here.
Only 1 pass play on this drive so far. 3 runs, 1 pass.
Lengthy delay as the chains reset. They have to make sure that it still is 5 chain links short. Hartzell under center. Morrison in the backfield. They give to Morrison. He's got a first down. Brought down at the 5-yard line.
Yeah, Bridgewater-Raynham bringing Shane Fries in motion there to the right. So that Brockton defensive line shifts a little bit. They think that's where the run's going to go, and then that's when they run to the left. There's a huge hole right there, plenty enough for the first down.
Exactly, Brian. You saw it right there on the replay. It opened up that left side for him to get just enough for the first down. Good play call right there for the Bridgewater-Raynham Trojans.
1st and goal for the Trojans from the 5-yard line. They give to Morrison, and he's brought down at the line of scrimmage.
See, that hole closed up very quickly. Nice job by Brockton's defense down the right-hand side.
Yeah, he sees a hole right to the right. He looks right for him, makes that cut right there, and a good job just to swarm on him, make sure that they close up that hole pretty good. Kind of baited him in there a little bit.
Yeah.
Strong gust of wind coming in from the Rocky Marciano statue across the field.
Sure, that's going to feel good.
You got guys on this Brockton team. I mean, Amik Watterson moved up from Tennessee the first week of the season. Ooh. He's not in Tennessee anymore.
This isn't Kansas anymore. So here again for BR, I mean, at the 4-yard line, easily this is 4-down territory. I don't think they're even going to try a field goal, even though they're inside the 5-yard line.
They have to go into the wind. That would get ugly fast. We're going to have a timeout here called by the Trojans.
Timeout, Trojans.
And I think so far for BR, it's that field position that they're taking advantage of. I mean, Brockton's the one that has to punt into the wind. That's why they get 2 punts that couldn't even reach midfield. Heck, they barely even reached the 30-yard line, both of them, and that's why Bridgewater-Raynham so far has won the field of the battle of field position here. But now, if Bridgewater-Raynham scores his touchdown, they're kicking into the wind, and now Brockton should be able to take advantage of that short field.
Yeah, give credit to the Brockton defense in this first half. They've really done a nice job. They've been on their toes right from the beginning with Bridgewater-Raynham getting excellent field position, as you said, Brian. And they're just doing a great job so far holding off Bridgewater-Raynham from getting in this end zone. But now we got 2nd and goal. Big job right here that the Boxers have.
Wouldn't be surprised if you saw some play action right here.
Hartzell under center. Wide open, and he dropped it in the end zone.
Wow. Just went right through his hand.
I believe number 42, the intended receiver, Kevin Compton.
Yeah, like you said, Brian, football's hard and everything, but you see right here in the replay, he should have had that.
It's right in his wheelhouse.
Yes.
Right there. I think he's
Right
trying
there.
to look upfield. I mean, the throw maybe a little bit low, but still, I'm always of the notion if it hits you in the hand, you better bring it
Better
in.
bring it in, yeah. That was right down the waist area. He should have had that.
Yeah, play action. That was a perfect time to call it. They had the right play, just couldn't execute.
Might have been thinking about his celebration before he caught the ball. Two wideouts, one to each side. Hartzell throws it up. And good defensive play there by number 12, who knocked it out. That is Devin Fortes.
Great defense by Fortes as he went up. Receiver had the football, but you'll see on the replay the defender got his hands in there and disrupted that catch right there.
They're going for Ciccio. Actually, if Ciccio had the size advantage right there, you want to throw that ball up a little bit. I mean, Ciccio's over 6 feet tall. Make him jump up for it. He had the clear size advantage there, but a little bit of a low throw, which is able the defensive back just to knock that ball free, bring up a 4th and 4.
Fortes undersized, 5'9", $170. So BR with the huge height advantage on that matchup, and they are lining up to attempt a field goal into the wind. Call me shocked.
I mean, about a 21-yard field goal.
Ball is snapped, the kick is up,
It's good.
and it hangs inside the post as it was
Yes.
spinning towards the BR sideline, and the kick is good. Bridgewater-Raynham draws first blood 3-0 for the Trojans.
And a day like today, as cold as it is, the way the wind blowing, that was execution to its finest. The snap, the hold, and then the kicker kicking the ball through the uprights on a very, very cold and windy day.
We don't want to tease too much, but my favorite tradition of this matchup is the annual turkey hat worn by Newbie Rateau. I've seen it. It is a good one. The viewers will see it at some point.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's the Thanksgiving tradition. It's pretty much the one thing that a lot of people look forward to.
Newbie currently is standing in front of the heater up here in the press box. Abandoned the sideline.
So an 8-play drive there for the Trojans, resulting in the 21-yard field goal. And now let's see if Brockton can take advantage of good field position because they have to kick this directly into the wind.
Low kick bouncing around, picked up by the Boxers, who bring it back to the 44-yard line.
Finally, some decent field position for the Boxers.
Let's see if Brockton attempts a pass with the wind and how well Michael Norman adjusts to the extra give that the football has in the air.
Still cold.
I mean, if we really want to start comparing how many layers we're wearing, I think Jeff Fowler wins by a landslide.
And he's got that one-piece, Michael Myers thing going on.
Amik Watterson throwing the stiff arm as he gets out to the 48-yard line. Newbie's on his way down to the sideline.
Wow, you'll see right here on the replay, Matt, the ball kind of went to the left, and he was able to grab it.
That was a great one-handed
Yes.
reception for Michael Norman.
Exactly.
Boxers have a first down. I believe that is their first down on the morning.
Yeah.
You would be correct in that assumption.
So when you get good field position, you can do a little bit more with your offense. Now you're inside Trojan territory, I believe, for the first time.
You can see how the Boxers are starting to spread it out more as soon as they changed directions, as Watterson brought down right at the line of scrimmage. 4 wide receivers on that last play. Nonetheless, it will be 2nd and 10 for the Boxers. 8 minutes even left in the first half. 3-0 Trojans. Four wideouts. Watch for Navon Reed and man coverage on the near sideline. Norman to pass and broken up. Intended for Reed.
Yeah, defense was in there, and big defender was in the passing lane of the quarterback. Put his hands up like he's supposed to. If you can't get to the quarterback, get your hands up.
Nice job. I mean, even though you see that guy out in the flat, just get your hands up there. Just try to disrupt the quarterback, and even better, you get that pass deflection.
And he was looking for Reed over the middle, who was a step and a half behind it.
Had him wide open. Had he hit him right there, he was well ahead of his defensive back. I think he
Yeah.
would have went into the end zone for 6 had they completed that.
Yeah, you wasn't going to catch Navon.
That was Nico Carucci there on the coverage there for the Trojans.
Now 4th and 10, the Boxers are going to go for it. Although now the punting team comes out. But Michael Norman, the quarterback, is lining up as the long snapper.
This is the beauty of high school sports. I mean, you just see positions that normally don't play in certain positions, and they just line up and do this stuff.
Sten Bruno recovering the bad snap, and his punt is high. And a nice recovery for the Boxers. It's touchdown at the 11-yard line.
Yeah, that was a nice recovery by the punter,
34-yard punt there.
as he was able to, was fumbled a little bit. Wasn't a good snap, but he was able to recover and get the punt off.
And all you had to do was just send that one straight up into the sky and just let the wind take the rest of it. Excellent punt.
And it did.
Yeah, and then, I mean, they've kind of struggled on their long snaps here today on their punts, and now they've been actually doing a good job of just getting the punt off and not really having a horrendous play. And now you're forcing Bridgewater-Raynham to drive, the entire field, 89 yards. They have to go here for 6.
$7:21 to go in the second quarter. 1st and 10 for the Trojans from their own 11-yard line. Morrison brought down a gain of about a yard.
Yeah, there's that pitch again, and he just cuts it right up towards the middle. There's just nothing on the outside there for Morrison to do. I'm getting a workout in here just chasing my papers that blow around everywhere. I gotta say, I think other than the kickoff and that one offside there from Brockton, other than that, it's been a clean game here as far as penalties are concerned.
unless you want to count the kickoff from BR that went out of bounds on the opening kickoff of the game, is BR has a
Well, now normally
gain.
when you do that, you just place the ball at the 35-yard line and go. They actually brought the ball back, and I think Miles said it. Someone from Bridgewater-Raynham was offside, so they just did it again.
Well, you've got the option in that situation to either re-kick or take it on the 35. The Boxers were confident that the re-kick would not be as good.
I'll tell you that.
Sometimes you make a bet, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
That was a nice rollout by Bridgewater's quarterback. Made the execution through the pass right to his receiver, and he about 2 yards short of a first down.
And a nice little out route right there from Jeff Ciccio.
3rd and 2 for the Trojans.
I think Peter Colombo's going to take a timeout here. Trying to get a substitution. I saw someone from Brockton running onto the field, so I figured maybe there was only 10 players on the field. I think he was just trying to get some subs off.
This timeout called by Peter Colombo and the Boxers. See, the marching band is trying to stay warm. I just see a wall of blankets going across the bleachers in front of us.
I got to give it up to all of our camera operators out there today, braving the elements.
Yeah.
Holding two metal sticks that turn that camera around.
I think this one's going to be shy of the first down. It'll be 4th and a yard.
Yeah, nice 3rd down hole by Brockton's defense. There, you'll see here on the replay. Stood tall and held that running back from getting the first down.
I think the biggest loser today has got to be the guy in the marching band holding the cymbals.
Yeah, it can't feel too good having those two saucers hanging on to your hands. Pure metal.
So 4th and a yard for the Trojans, who now take a timeout to talk some strategy.
Yeah, 4th and 1. I think they're just making sure that the right players have the right assignments. I think it's going to be another running play. Make sure you mark your man, get that wide open hole, so that way your running back or your fullback, or heck, even your quarterback can run through it.
It looks like they had the punting team getting ready to run out there, but then they called them back. I think they're going to go for it, Brian, in their own territory.
And you got to imagine it's a pitch or a give to Morrison here.
Yeah, you have to imagine that. Like I said, I think that timeout just making sure that the right guys. Although the way he's lining up,
First down for the Trojans. That was Austin Hartzell on the quarterback keeper.
Yeah, that was probably the most safest play with the weather factor. You don't want to try to hand it off and something happen there. You don't need much for a first down, so you just quarterback sneak.
Yeah, a little bit of a risky move going for it on 4th down, especially kind of deep in your own territory. But that's the beauty of Thanksgiving. I mean, the game really doesn't mean anything. You get to just try out certain things. I mean, we always see, Buren tries to, do some pass plays, get some funky formations. Of course, with the wind, you kind of have to tone that down. But in a game like this, why not go for it?
Flags thrown, false start against the Trojans. After we just got done talking about how clean played this game has been, lack of penalties except for an offsides and a kickoff that went out of bounds.
That's just the jinx of the announcers. That's just what we do. It was just over 5 minutes to halftime, so get to see both bands do halftime performance. And interestingly enough, I believe both bands are going to perform the same exact songs at halftime today. Which you mentioned.
Are they going to do them together?
I don't think so. I think they're going to do one after another, and of course, Vinnie Macrina's last halftime performance. I guess that's how you do a real battle. The bands do the same thing, see who does it better.
Pitch out to Morrison. He turns the corner on the far side, lowers the shoulder. trying to get back to the original line of scrimmage. It'll be a 2nd and about 11. So Morrison has been the Trojans' secret weapon lining up at running back, as you mentioned, normally the starting quarterback.
But, like I said, they're in high school. They can get up from injuries. They can do this. They can recover.
Nice stop there by Brockton's defense, number 32.
Josiah Asari on the coverage for the Boxers.
Yeah, you can see the pursuit right there. Excuse me, number 30. Yeah.
3:45 to go here in the second quarter.
Here for BR, I think, depending on what you do on this play here, I think you're still in 4-down territory. If you get nothing here, I would imagine that Bridgewater-Raynham would punt on 4th and 11, deep in their own territory. But if they can bring up
but they're going into the win, so that might factor into it.
I mean, if it's 4th and I'd say less than 6, they'd probably go for it.
Hartzell rolling out, throwing across his body. He's got Dobebe, and that makes it about a 4th and 6.
I'll take about 4th and 3.
Yeah. I was going to say, what are you seeing?
I was looking where he went down, not where his forward progress was stopped.
Yeah, it was good effort for him to try and get to the first down. Big decision here for Bridgewater-Rayham's coach.
Well, I think, last time you had a 4th and 1, you went for it. You have a 4th and 3 here. I mean, I think it easily makes sense to go for it here if you're BR, but I don't know if that QB sneak is in the cards like they had in the last 4th down attempt.
Brockton burning another timeout. So a slow going first half in terms of scoring, just the one field goal from Bridgewater-Raynham.
A beautiful gust of wind comes through.
Beautiful.
Just when you thought
just a
you
little
were
sea breeze coming in from the fairgrounds.
Just when you thought you were starting to warm up, Mother Nature says, nope, no, you're not.
Mother Nature says, hey, I'm still here. Don't forget about me.
Winter's coming.
It cometh. And a first down for the Trojans.
I don't know, that far linesman, the way, well, I guess they are going to give him. I thought that far linesman had him set up a little short of that first down marker.
You'll see it here right on the replay. Again, a quarterback sneak to the right side of his offensive line, right between the center and the guard.
Might have been a little generous of a spot once you look at the replay.
Like I said, I think that far linesman initially had him short.
Now a big gainer for the Trojans. It's a gain of about 8. I think that was Morrison on the give.
No, both teams really aren't doing anything special up front, in terms of their offensive line, pulling guards, anything like that. It's just really just straight up man-to-man blocking.
Yeah, and that was nice blocking by Bridgewater-Rayham. Right side of that offense. Nice hole. You saw in the replay. Just went right through there.
So the 11th play of the drive coming up for the Trojans that started at their own 11-yard line. Already taking up 5 minutes off the clock here.
The give to Morrison. He's got another first down for the Trojans. 2.5 to go in the second quarter, and now it's a race against the clock for Bridgewater-Raynham to see if they can punch it in. They've had a lot of success running the ball on this drive.
Yep, right there. On the replay, another nice hole on the right side of that offensive line.
Yeah, going back to what you mentioned about the time, I don't know if there is such a thing of a 2-minute offense with all running plays, but we'll see if there is one.
Hartzell back to pass. He's in trouble. Hartzell gets decked as he throws. No receiver in the area. Are they going to call intentional grounding? The refs are going to confer.
Well, it should be, because he never gets out of the tackle box. He never reaches the line of scrimmage, and there is no receiver in the area.
Yeah, and you can see the coaching staff on Brockton's side doing a gesture, hey, intentional grounding.
I don't know why they need a conference to determine this.
There
it is. So it is intentional grounding against the Trojans. Lost it down, 5-yard penalty.
I think if you want to demonstrate what intentional grounding is, you'd show that video. I mean, you pretty much had the trifecta there.
It's always interesting to see the fans try to call what penalty it is. Someone just said he was in front of the line of scrimmage when he threw it.
Why not? So that'll be a loss it down.
So that brings up a 2nd and about 20 to go for the Trojans. They give to Morrison, hit nicely at the line of scrimmage, number 33.
Yeah, nice job.
That is Trayvon Cordaro Goodwin.
The shoestring tackle.
Nice job, just went right through the line right there, went for the feet, tripped him up, made sure he couldn't really get anything going.
You'll see right here in the replay, he got right through the line. Came up and shoestring tackle.
Breaking news.
Oh, boy.
When news breaks, the Mad Dog breaks it. They have decided it is too cold. There will be no halftime show.
Wow. So they'll just go right into this, 5-minute break and then go right back into the football game?
I'd imagine 10 minutes,
10
get the
minutes.
kids into the locker rooms, warm them up a little bit.
Get them back out here.
So, I was excited to hear both teams perform the same songs, the Bridgewater-Raynham Marching Band, the Brockton High School Marching Band. Instead, nothing.
Well, at halftime, then we'll play some interviews that we have from Dominic Damiano, 4 Deep Sports, with head coach Dan Buren of Bridgewater-Raynham and Peter Colombo of Brockton, talking about the Thanksgiving Day game and all that fun stuff.
I think we should all come back Saturday and have the marching band perform Vinnie Macrina's last halftime show here.
You guys could do that. I'll be at Chestnut Hill.
$1:46 left in the second quarter. 4th and long, it's about 4th and 17, so the Bridgewater-Raynham will punt into the wind. A very, very strong wind and a cold wind blowing into the face of the Bridgewater-Raynham punter.
Now, these timeouts.
Really they're going to wait for the gust of wind to settle down.
Well, that's what usually when it'll just pick right up.
I've learned one thing in my 25 years of life. If you challenge Mother Nature, you usually lose.
Yeah, there's about, 7 Sharknado movies that prove that point?
8th one coming out, next year?
I thought this was the end, but then again, we kept saying that after the others.
That's like Rocky. They just kept making more.
I figured this game, even with the conditions in the wind, I thought it was going to be a little bit more, high scoring, other than 3-0 from the 21-yard field goal.
Well, when both teams, their bread and butter all year has been the running game, you'd think nothing changes in terms of strategy.
Well, that's why I'm kind of, confused. Is, usually you see the pulling guards, pulling tackles, you see guys trying to open up holes, and they're just really just running straight down your throat. Look at the returner setting up, just shy of the first down marker.
It's a fake, and a fake that did not go well for the Trojans.
Not at all.
Like I said, it's a Thanksgiving game. Of course, it means nothing in the standings. Might as well try some of these plays.
It's turnover on downs. Brockton takes over with minute 40 left into the second quarter, trailing by 3 with their best starting field position of the day.
If you're Brockton, you take advantage of this. You throw the ball, you have the wind at your back, put 6 up on the board, and you get the second half kickoff. Excuse me, you kick it off in the second half. Thank you, Dom. Always there behind me to make sure that I know my mistakes.
Fumble, the ball is out. Norman picked it up.
And Watterson didn't even know it. I think he thought the quarterback kept the football because he just kept running.
Yeah, it looks like there was supposed to be that read option play, and
You'll see it right here on the replay.
no communication between your quarterback and
It's
your running
just
back.
dropped.
Quarterback did a nice job picking up the football and getting back to the line of 1 yard short of the line of scrimmage.
Second and 11 for the Boxers. 5 wide receiver set. Norman back to pass. He's looking long, and his arm is hit as he throws. Ball is out. And there's a pile up and a scrum on the 43-yard line. Bridgewater-Raynham calling that they've got it.
I'd like to see the replay of that. I think his arm was going forward, but of course.
And they do say that Bridgewater-Raynham has recovered the fumble.
Yeah, let's see that on replay.
Fumble on the play recovered by the Trojans. First down.
Let's take a look right here. Yep. His arm was absolutely going forward. Get Tom Brady and John Gruden on the phone.
That was the one shot for Brockton to really kind of turn the momentum in their favor.
Yeah. You can see it right here again, Matt. He was, yeah, yeah.
That was Dobebe that was applying the pressure and hit Norman's arm.
See it again. He's right there. He's in the motion of passing the football, but at that very split second, the ball's knocked out of his. That's a tough call. Looks like that pass attempt was incomplete down the field.
So it's second and about 6 for the Trojans. 17 seconds left. You'd imagine even in the cold and with the wind that you could take a couple of shots for the end zone here.
Well, your marker there says second down. Now they just flipped it to third.
And BR is just going to take a knee and end it. So we enter halftime 3-0 Trojans over the Boxers. One lone field goal, the difference to put BR up. Brian, very, very slow going here for these two teams.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just really trying to do that run game. The passing game's just not working, especially downfield. We see Brockton tried it once. They had the receiver wide open. Couldn't quite connect with them. Trying to, dump it off in the flat there, get some quick in routes, out routes there. 4 or 5 yards downfield. Other than that, just running right up the middle. And both defensive lines are doing a pretty good job of snuffing it out. I mean, Bridgewater-Raynham, the reason why they have a 3-0 lead at halftime is thanks to the field position that Brockton gave them because they were kicking into the wind.
Miles, do you see either team with a big strategy shift at halftime?
No, not really. Bridgewater-Raynham's done a better job of holding on to the football longer than Brockton has. Brockton needs to really try to get some time factor on their offense and drive that ball down the field a little bit more, and hopefully they can somehow get something in the end zone.
3-0 Bridgewater-Raynham Trojans leading the Brockton Boxers at halftime in the 9th annual Cape Cod Cafe Cup. Instead of the marching bands, I think we're going to hear from Dom Damiano at the Cape Cod Cafe with Dan Buron and Peter Colombo. We will be back for second half action right after this.
Joined by Dan Buron, head football coach over Bridgewater-Raynham. And like I was telling Pete, I can't believe this is the 9th annual meeting already.
I just said the same thing to Jimmy Fenton from the Enterprise. I said it seemed like yesterday we were here for the first ever, Cape Cod Cafe Bowl, and just means I guess we're getting old, Dom, because time flies by. But no, you look back on it, and it's really turned into a great rivalry.
It really has. It's funny because that's what Peter said. Don was showing our age. So how are we doing for injuries going into this game?
We have a few seniors that won't be able to play, unfortunately for them. But we're where we have been the last couple of weeks. So, again, we're young, and, experience is a factor this year for us. But we'll be ready to play, and I think this game brings out the best in all of us.
Absolutely. One of the other big things. What's the coaching's mindset? You know what type of team you have. He knows what type of team he has going into this game. What's your outlook, and what are you trying to distill in the kids to get ready for Thanksgiving?
Well, just pretty much the same as every week. We have to play, good, sound, fundamental football. Brockton's playing very well right now. They're on a nice little run, and so defensively, we just can't give up the big play. And that's the thing with Brockton. They're capable. Every year we've played them, they have some very explosive athletes. So if we can slow them down a little bit, and the best way to do that is keep the ball on offense, and that's kind of been our MO over the years. Is we're going to control the clock, control the ball, and again, that's easier said than done this year because their defense is what I've really noticed. The last couple of games have been playing really well. Has stopped some pretty good offensive teams. So we're going to have to play a perfect game, to be honest with you, and then when that happens, special teams will be a huge factor, and our special teams have been playing pretty well. So hopefully, field position is going to become even more paramount when you play a team like Brockton.
All right, Dan, happy Thanksgiving. All the best.
Well, happy Thanksgiving to you, Dom. Thank you for what you do, and I'd just like to wish all the viewers and fans out there a very happy and safe Thanksgiving.
Here at the 9th annual Cape Cod Cafe Senior Luncheon, I have the pleasure to be joined by Peter Colombo. This time flew by, Peter. This is the 9th annual Cape Cod Cafe game.
Yeah, I've been reminded of that today, and it has flown by, as the years seem to do when you get to be our age, Dom, you know what I'm saying? But, it's been 9 years, and it's hard to believe, but it's turned into a great tradition, and we look forward to it.
What's the different mindset in coaching, if any, going into a big game like this? You know what, from 9 years, what BR brings to the table. You know what your guys can do.
Yeah.
So what's the mindset for the coaching staff?
Well, I mean, you're going to play a very inspired team, well coached. They always are. Coach Buron and his staff do a phenomenal job there. And, we've struggled against these guys. Lucky enough to beat them in a playoff game a few years ago. But for the most part, we only have one win out of these 8 now, going on 9. And so we just need to play better and avoid mistakes, or we will not beat a good football team.
Now, how are we doing for injuries coming into for Thanksgiving?
We're in pretty good shape, actually. Hoping to get one of our linemen back from a concussion. He's doing well, but we're in pretty good shape overall.
Armin Colombo, 18 years now, came to the Boxers in 1969. We asked him if this Super Bowl would be any different from the previous 7 that he's played in.
It's always different.
Longtime Brockton football coach Armin Colombo was hoisted by his players after clinching his 300th victory back in 2003. The win punctuating a career that included 9 Super Bowl appearances as head coach and 2 as an assistant to his son, Peter. With 9 state titles, countless league honors, and a team that was nationally ranked during their prime, Armin was inducted into the Hall of Fame at Brockton High School, Stonehill College, and the Massachusetts High School Football Coaches Association. He is ranked second all-time amongst winning coaches in Massachusetts. Colombo quarterbacked an undefeated Brockton team and played in the Orange Bowl in 1948. His achievements on the field were impressive for sure, but his work in the classroom, the locker room, and his infamous office in the basement of the Arthur Staff Gymnasium might have been most valuable. Colombo was more than just a football coach. He was a life coach. He helped boys become men, guiding thousands of young gentlemen, drawing up game plans for success in the game of life, and his class of over 35 teams defined his legacy. There is no doubt that Armin is smiling down on the field that bears his name as the Boxers host Bridgewater-Raynham for the right to raise the Cape Cod Cafe Cup. Coming up next, it's the Trojans and the Boxers on Brockton Community Access and Bridgewater Television.
Well, there it is, Dom Damiano with both Dan Bureau and Peter Colombo at the Cape Cod Cafe, the annual luncheon, and then, of course, the memorial video put together in honor of Armin Colombo in sweet memory. And we have Newbie down on the sideline. Newbie, let's see that turkey hat.
Right here. Oh, we're on.
It's
Okay,
good.
all right.
It's good.
Hey, guys, listen. Halftime here with a very special guest, Director of Communications from the Mayor's Office, Peter Zimborg. Peter, I mean, defensive battle here, 3-0. I mean, there's nothing better than Thanksgiving football, right?
There's nothing better than Thanksgiving football in Massachusetts. You know, it's weird. I didn't realize until maybe 10 years ago that Thanksgiving morning football is strictly a New England tradition. And it's a New England tradition I never want to see die. People in other parts of the country get up on Thanksgiving morning and watch this thing. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's popular in other parts of the country called the Macy's Day Parade.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, not here in New England. They like big balloons and stuff. Here in New England, Thanksgiving morning football, it's when the high school players get to shine. Every year there's always big specials on Channel 4 and 5 and the big Boston media outlets showing highlights of each and every game. It's an opportunity for these young kids to shine on the field, and whether or not the game has any consequence in the standings of the playoffs, it gives these kids a stage to perform on, and a big stage at that, as they get plenty of attention each and every year. So I love Thanksgiving morning football. And another Thanksgiving tradition I love, on top of Thanksgiving morning football here in New England, a tradition here in the city of Brockton that has just accrued to historic proportions over the past few years is what Thanksgiving Day hat will Newbie wear? Turkey hats, variations of turkey hats, cooked turkeys, live turkeys, and today a pilgrim hat, I believe.
Well, Peter, you know, I got to be fair. You know, I did Native American hats. I did a turkey hat. I'm like, wait, hold on. I'm forgetting the last piece of the puzzle here, which is the pilgrims. I got paid homage to the pilgrims here. So that's why I say, you know, I'm going to do one of these. Actually, I got a few extras that I'd be happy to give to you.
You know, I don't know if people realize how much these hats mean to Newbie, but just before we went on the air for this interview, his hat blew away about 20 yards down that way, and I'm telling you right now, he could have outrun Deion Sanders on the 20-yard dash to get his hat.
Pilgrim hats lives matter.
Pilgrims' hats lives do matter, yes.
All right, guys, so let's head out to the booth. Let's see if the Brockton Bucks can finally win against Bridgewater-Raynham. Let's go, guys. We're going to come back with a few other guests. Back to you guys.
Well, Newbie has been in training to race against Vanessa Clairvaux, the Olympic hopeful for the nation of Haiti, Brockton track legend, Vanessa Clairvaux. So it's good to see he's off to a good start in his training.
What I liked, I'm sorry I missed the hat blowing down the field. I would love to see Newbie sprinting after that hat faster than Barry Sanders.
Hey, did we get a stopwatch on that?
I think it clocked in at about if we double it for the 40-yard dash, I think it was about a 4.2.
4.2. That's darn good. You know, you don't really see the 4.240 come around.
I tell you, I got to give Newbie a lot of credit. It's cold out there, but he's got that Pilgrim's hat on. Nothing to protect his ears, and he's really being a big trooper.
So my question of the day, I've gotten different answers from different people.
Oh, boy.
Start with Brian, then Miles. Is gravy considered a side?
I don't think it's considered a side.
All right, so we'll get Miles' answer right after we get back from Newbie, who's down on the sideline yet again.
We're back here at Foul. Listen, a legend right here in Brockton, Rodney Wilson. Rodney, man, no better than Thanksgiving football. A little too cold, though, today, though, right?
It's never too cold for Brockton High football. A little too windy. That's about it, though. That wind needs to stop for us to get a little Brockton High running game going here, you know what I mean?
Hey, listen, I know we're on Bridgewater television, but we're going to be on Brockton, too. But listen, we got to beat Bridgewater one of these years. This is ridiculous.
Well, I thought we had a real chance 2 years ago when we were up by 14 going to the fourth quarter. But B has a well-coached team. Never give up. The kids play hard. You know, hey, a lot of credit goes to their coaches over there. I'm watching them firsthand. I'm standing with the chains. I can hear a lot of coaching going on at all times over there. Same thing as Brockton High, but good little rivalry. Brockton High number 2, Bridgewater.
As a Brockton fan, we're all Brockton fans. What do you see that Brockton is doing in the second half to pull off a victory?
Just constantly run the ball, contain the ball, keep the ball. You know, I think we're throwing a little too much. Run it, establish the run, eat the clock. Don't give them the ball back. That Hopkins kid's pretty good to be a freshman. A lot of good throwing balls he threw. They dropped a couple of passes on him. So, you know, we're fortunate to have the game this close.
Last but not least, what do you think about the hat?
The hat's bomb. You know me. I got a little flavor sometimes too. You know, bringing it back to the old school, late 70s, the old school bomber before the Fat Gooses came out. Go Brockton High School.
All right, guys, back to you in the booth.
All right, so, Miles, is gravy considered a side dish?
I would say it is because I've been to a Thanksgiving dinner when I was in the Air Force. A couple invited us over, so me and the wife we sat down and everything was brought out, and then I'm looking for the gravy. I'm like, I don't see no gravy, and it just wasn't right without the gravy. So definitely gravy's a side.
It's an integral part.
Yes.
So that was one of the questions. Do you prefer cranberry sauce or cranberry jelly, white meat, dark, and then all the standard stuff falls into line?
Yeah, I like your straight cranberry sauce. I mean, you got that straight type that comes out of the can. Looks like the can when it comes out. Then you got the other cranberry sauce that looks like it's got cranberries in it and stuff. That's okay. You know, I'll take that than nothing, but...
Well, the thing with me is I'm probably going to shock some people here, but I'm not much of a meat eater. So I'll just load up on the veggies and just throw a bunch on the plate there and make sure I have no real estate left. Not much of a meat person, though.
Yeah, one little piece of turkey?
No, I haven't had that in about 10 years.
Impressive. Well, the marching band has abandoned ship. They decided it's too cold, so they have run back over to the Fine Arts Building at Brockton High School.
I mean, can you blame them? I can't blame them. Got them cold instruments.
If the football players have to deal with it, and the broadcast crew has to deal with it, and the coaches have to deal with it, everybody should have to deal with it. It should be an equal opportunity thing, and the marching band should just, even if it's just the drum line playing and the rest of the band just jumping around.
I hear you on that one until you put your lips up to a metal instrument in, negative degree weather here and they get stuck to it.
Snowflakes. So Brockton will be kicking off to Bridgewater-Raynham should the Trojans come out of their nice warm locker room at any point.
I mean, I feel like the whole Brockton team hasn't quite come out yet.
Oh, here's a couple more. It is 3-0. Trojans on top of the Boxers. Surprising to see a lot of notable people coming out to this game. Steve Burton stopped by just to show his support for high school football.
Yeah, I mean, every time you get the Thanksgiving Day games, you got a premier matchup. You have Brockton and BR. I mean, both in their heyday were always in the Super Bowl, always contending for state championships. Feels like every few years one of them is always at Gillette Stadium.
Well, I'll tell you, this one thing Brockton has to do in this second half. They have to initiate some type of ground control. They got to keep this football and try to put some point. If it's 3 points, if it's 6 points, but they really need to do a little bit better offensive control of that football. Bridgewater-Raynham did a nice job in the first half controlling the football.
So, Brian, let's talk about the the merger of sorts between the OCL and the Big Three. These two teams could be a division matchup if things go official. What we've seen in the Big Three the last couple of years is the division not being decided until Durfee plays New Bedford today. So we'll get to that. Newbie Rateau is on the 32-yard line. Newbie, what do you got going on?
Guys, talked to both coaches. I talked to defensive coordinator Carlito Weaver for the Brockton Boxers side. He said simply, guys, listen, we got to stay focused. We got to ignore the weather. It's about mental toughness right now. And they want to win this for head coach Armin Colombo. I mean, they want to win this for him. Phil's named after him. They want to play on his behalf. So former head coach Armin Colombo, they want to win this for him. Talked to head coach Dan Biron. He said, hey, guys, this is senior year. A lot of seniors on the team. Got to play tough. Got to stay focused. They're up right now. Just got to continue to keep the train running and be focused. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Newbie. So, with the Big Three division not being officially decided until Durfee and New Bedford goes final today, do you see this as a viable Thanksgiving matchup in a game that could very well determine the winner of the division and who gets the automatic bid into the MIAA playoffs that started 4 weeks ago?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, you know. Of course, you can't decide who gets the automatic bid now after the tournament's pretty much over. But, I mean, talking about having them combine, I mean, I think it's an awesome idea. I mean, they play each other in every other sport anyways. You might as well make it worth something at this point. I mean, in the OCL and Big Three, you know, you only have to win 2 league games pretty much to win your conference there. So I think it's pretty good because, you know, back in their heyday, I mean, the OCL was one of the premier conferences to have. I mean, now it's kind of going towards the Bay State, going towards the Hockomock now.
So Carlin's Gene to kick away. It's a squib picked up at the 19-yard line. And Morrison brought down at the 30.
Yeah, we're going to have to really depend on Brockton's defense to even make something happen, get a turnover or something in Bridgewater's own territory to really lift the spirit to this Brockton offense.
Yeah, what do you guys think, though, of the OCL and the Big Three merging? I mean, I think it's a wonderful idea.
I think it's about time something happened because the Big Three has been, for the most part, Brockton in every single sport. Soccer the last couple of years, New Bedford's put up a competition. But it's just the 3-team leagues are ridiculous because then you got 20 teams in the playoffs and it goes on, and the competition is not good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I agree with you on that one. I mean, it was about time. As I said, they play each other in every other sport anyways. I mean, might as well make it worth a little bit extra now.
And you can't really blame Barnstable for not wanting to be a part of it, driving up 2 hours in traffic
absolutely.
from the Cape and then having to go back home after the game.
That's why in the original OCL, Falmouth was one of the first teams to leave. I mean, especially they were tired of going to Quincy, and that's why Quincy was out of it. The Plymouth left it pretty quick, too. I mean, that makes sense.
One lone wideout to the far side for the Trojans. They give to Morrison right up the middle. Gain of a couple. It'll be third and about 4. Hartzell getting his marching orders from Dan Buron over on the sideline. Matthew Buron, the lone man in motion, he becomes a blocker. They give maybe a gain of a yard depending on spot, so it'll be fourth and about 2.5.
Yeah, a big third down for Brockton's defense. They want to make, I'm sure Bridgewater probably will go, but it's going to be tough with fourth down and about 2 yards to go, let's say. Brockton can really turn things around here.
And we flipped again, so Bridgewater-Raynham has the wind with them.
You know, the closer this game goes and the longer it goes on, I mean, the fact that Brockton's going to have the wind with them in the fourth quarter, you know, that could be a sneaky big factor here if it stays a close scoring game.
And lest we forget, as the balls stay out in the cold, in the cold, dry air, that they tend to lose a little bit of air pressure.
What makes you say that?
I don't know. It seems like everybody knows that except for the NFL central offices.
Are we talking about the ideal gas law now? We're going to get a little science lesson going up here?
Science, the more you know.
Need Bill Nye up here.
Bill Nye. There's a name I haven't heard since,
Wow.
let's see, since Fox decided that he was at the World Series instead of Sandy Koufax.
Wow. The referees just gave Bridgewater-Raynham a nice spot, but
I
hopefully they
still
didn't make
think it's going to be a
short.
chain link short.
I think
And they're going to, I think you got to measure this one. It looks
They just
awful close. You got to pull the chains out to the hash mark.
It's Brockton ball, I think.
Yeah.
Pretty sure I saw the referee pointing the other way.
And now the ref has to hold it so the spot doesn't go. And now they're going to call the chains out onto the hash mark to officially determine it. Looks like it's right on the line.
That was another generous. They remarked it. And very generous. That's going to be close.
And they're calling for the chain gang.
Yeah.
They're not paying attention on the far sideline. Here they go.
I could have sworn I saw an official make a motion that it was Brockton ball.
Yeah. I did not like the spot that they gave.
It is a weird spot,
Bridgewater.
but I think when you spot it that close, you kind of have to measure. Because it looks like it might just be one chain link short. And it is.
Oh, they're still trying to.
You gotta pull it to the distance. There it is. Oh, it's gonna be close.
My favorite part is when both teams just start pointing in your directions. And
It is gonna be very, very short, and they mark it a Brockton ball. That's about half a chain link.
I mean, I swear to God, I thought 5 minutes ago they saw a ref was pointing the other way.
Yeah, I mean, that was an extra generous spot they gave the. Here it is right here. You'll see it right here. They stop him right there.
Right at the line of scrimmage, and then
Yeah.
they said
Then they
he
push
was
him back.
almost at the 40-yard line. So Brockton ball, after all that. One lone wide out to the far side. Norman gives off to Watterson, who is brought down after a gain of 1.
It looks like the Boxers may have got away with a little bit of a hold there on the right guard. But then again, you can call holding on every single play if you wanted to.
It's a little hold. Second and 10. They give this time to number 39, who is positive about 3 yards before he was pushed back. That is Rodrigo Lima.
Brockton's offensive line really hasn't got going to give their running backs any open holes. They've had a tough time running that football right in the middle of the field.
It's actually warmed up a bit down there. We went from a whopping 13 to a balmy 16 degrees.
I could definitely feel that one, too. So we're going to get a false start here, I think, on Brockton. Yeah, you can definitely feel the heat wave coming.
Oh, yeah. This is beach weather.
Yeah, that's a tough break on Brockton. That was third down. Now they're going to be like third down on about 15.
Yeah, it seems like Brockton here, a couple of times, they're starting to get that momentum to go in their favor. They're starting to move it a little bit. Then they'll make a mistake, a fumble or a penalty like that. It just kind of brings them back and just stalls them.
Yeah,
Right
the right side
there,
of that,
yep.
right side of that line.
The right guard responsible for that false start.
That was a 5-yard penalty, so about
3rd and 11.
3rd and 11, yeah.
Norman gives off to Watterson. Watterson to the 35 before he's brought down, so that'll bring up a 4th and about 6.
You see, oftentimes when you get that, and Bridgewater-Raynham actually saying that they have the ball here, but
Yeah, the whistle's already blew.
yeah, the forward momentum will stop it.
Exactly.
At that point, you just keep your legs churning. You don't know what's going to happen. You're going to run over someone. Someone can miss a tackle. The referee doesn't blow a whistle, and you just keep going. But I think this is a sneaky big 4th down here for Brockton. If they can't convert here, Bridgewater-Raynham can take some more time off that clock. I know it sounds crazy to say that with over 6 minutes left in the 3rd quarter, but it feels like you kind of have to win that clock possession right now.
Exactly. Clock possession is a big key factor in this second half. And especially if you got a 3-point lead, you just want to hold on to the football.
Fourth and 6, Norman back to pass over the middle to nobody in particular. It looked like it was intended for number 18, Trey Shula Hall.
Turnover on downs.
So BR takes over on downs.
Yeah, he didn't get a good grip on that football to really pass it. You'll see it right here. In the pocket, has time, but he just didn't throw it well. Had a receiver in back of the defender, number 18 there, looking for the football.
That was actually a good route, a good play call, I should say, from Brockton there. You had your outside receiver do a comeback route, then you had your slot receiver go deep. You're trying to see what your safety is going to do. Of course, your safety, bites on that comeback route, which I think he was trying to find the receiver on the seam route there. Was the poor throw.
Give to Morrison. Gain of about 8.
See, nice little hole on the left side of that offensive line. Gives his runner a chance to gain some yardage. Something Brockton hasn't been able to do on offense is give their running backs an open hole.
Got to give a lot of credit to both defenses. They really haven't allowed an explosive play. I'm talking about 10, 15 yards. I mean, yeah, you've seen 8-yard runs, as you saw right there, but you're not really seeing these explosive plays with these huge holes, and they're really just getting free.
Morrison's got a first down for the Trojans, close to midfield. The pitch to Morrison. He's across the 50 to the 49. Might spot it at the 48. So, Miles, we'll start with you this time. What is the must-have side of Thanksgiving?
Must-have. Well, you must have dressing. Stuffing. Got to have stuffing.
Okay. Johnny Mack just looked at me and said, why are you even asking? The answer is mashed potatoes.
With
Brian, favorite side?
Well, see a nice run right there from Morrison. For me, I mean, I'd have to say about a Sam Adams.
Sam Adams.
That's
respectable. Respectable.
Wow, you'll see right here the replay. Big gain. Bridgewater's really establishing a running attack on this possession.
I think I'm going to concur with Johnny Mack. It's going to be mashed potatoes and gravy.
Oh, yeah, mashed potatoes. I mean, that's a side for anything. You can eat that any day of the year.
Morrison carrying the Trojans on this drive. He's got another 8 yards.
Nicely, Bridgewater-Raynham starting to run to the outside of that field a little bit.
You see that pitch out right to the left side of that offense. Gets around the corner. Again, their running game is starting to rev up here. And they've got the wind behind them.
So it's second and about 5 for the Trojans. .333 to go in the third quarter. Give to Morrison. He's stopped. The ball's up. Brockton has it. Brockton has recovered the fumble to the 40, the 30. It's a Johnny Horn to the 20, the 10, the 5. Touchdown Boxers. A first score of the game for Brockton, and it's a recovered fumble brought 65 yards the other way for a Brockton touchdown.
I couldn't see who it was. Looks like he just kind of got his fist in there, just punched the ball free, just went right to the defensive back, and he was pretty much gone as soon as you got by that huddle of players there.
Yeah, you'll see it right here on the replay. And
that was Navon Reed who punched it.
And like I said, the Boxers had to make something happen, and it was a big-time turnover that resulted in 6 points. Was even better. It's like gravy on the mashed potatoes. It was a turnover, but it was a touchdown that they turned over.
Well, that kills a couple of storylines we've been watching. That kills the no explosive plays.
Again, it's the jinx of the announcers that do it.
Well, I heard somebody to our right say this game could end 3-0. It was Johnny Mack.
Wow. And as number 25, Horn ran that to the end, running down the field, the coaches, all Brockton coaches, were jumping up and down.
Ball is out on the extra point attempt still, and Bridgewater-Raynham is going to recover and brought down at the 34-yard line is number 21, Nico Carucci.
Wow, that was pretty scary right there. Just to clarify things, if that Bridgewater player did pick the football up and was able to run, that would have counted as a touchdown, correct?
2 points.
Yeah,
two points.
Okay.
So we would have had the
2 points and the ball back.
6 to 5. Yeah, it would have been a free kick after that.
6 to 5, very common football score. Of course, we actually had that score in the New England Bowl, Bridgewater State and Salve, a 6 to 5 game.
So the score stands at 6-3. Brockton on top, trying to steal just their second victory of the Cape Cod Cafe Cup series.
Brockton needed to play like that. I mean, Bridgewater-Raynham did moving the ball all over them. I mean, they had 30 yards within a few minutes there, and you punch that ball free, you get that scoop and score right there. Brockton takes the lead. I mean, that's something huge. If I'm Bridgewater-Raynham here, I'm sticking with my same players, though. You want to go right back to them. Make sure that you tell them that you have the confidence in them, and see if Bridgewater-Raynham can move the ball again and get down the field, potentially even tie the game or take the lead back.
And the way Bridgewater's been running the football, this game is far from over. It's like you said, Brian, they can move the ball down the field. And all it takes is one missed tackle or something. And so Brockton has to be careful. They have to focus, stay in focus while they're out there playing defense. Concentrate, don't get overly excited.
Miles, last week, sorry to cut you off, 36 carries for 285 yards. What happened between then and now?
It's cold out there. Like Brian's been saying all game, that football is very hard and slick.
Yes.
So it's hard to handle. Everybody's cold. They're not comfortable. They're just trying to grind it out. So that's the big difference.
First and 10 for the Trojans from their own 35-yard line. Give to Morrison, stopped at the line of scrimmage.
I can hear that wind. It's really getting nasty out there as far as the wind blowing. Just makes it more colder.
Yeah, you hear the wind that just makes you colder. Even though we're inside with the heat, a little bit of heat.
A little bit of heat.
You sends the chills down your spine.
Well, that score that Brockton, the defense made, it really picks up the defense to go out there and just try to hold for and that everybody's thinking now, let's hold it for, let's win this for Coach Armin Colombo.
Well, it's one thing to have the wind blowing at your back as Hartzell drops back to pass, looking long in, looking for Dobib. A little bit of a miscommunication. Dobib was behind everybody.
Yeah.
And he had him. All you had to do was lead him a little bit better.
Yeah, Horn was covering him, and he had Horn beat by a step or two, but it looks like Horn could have came back a little bit more and made more of a difference. Like he did get his hands on that football for him.
Yeah, there's a very big difference if you're Bridgewater-Raynham and Brockton right now between having the wind blow at the back of your neck and then being Brockton and have it blowing into your open eyes. You almost feel bad for them, and then you realize it's maybe 25 degrees up here in the booth. Completed pass to Morrison. Bodies everywhere. The ball is out, but I think they're going to rule Morrison down.
Boy, that was a hell of a run after he caught that football.
That was something.
There was a couple of missed tackles there, but that was because of his extra effort trying to get the ball down the field. Right there. Just bounces off one of the boxes.
You had half the defensive line in behind everybody just trying to get after Hartzell.
And a little screen pass right there. I wonder if Ed Morrison tried to go towards that far sideline, had he been able to get a little bit more yards, but sometimes you see the first open field you got there and you just run right for it.
High snap as BR attempts a punt. It will be touchdown at the 22-yard line.
Wow, we still got a minute and 12 seconds left in this third quarter. But you know, Boxers are thinking, Coach Colombo's thinking ball control. The offensive line really has to step up now and get a number of first downs to take some of this time off the clock going into the fourth quarter.
Minute 12 left in the third quarter. 6-3 your score. Brockton on top after that Johnny Horn recovered fumble for a touchdown.
Another key to this Boxer offensive drive, they cannot afford to fumble the football and give Bridgewater-Raynham great field position while they're in their own territory.
Give to Watterson. He's hit immediately. Gain of about a yard.
So you asked, why is Bridgewater-Raynham? They always went for it there in the first half. Why'd they kick it there? Well, really, their defense has stopped Brockton all day, and that's why you force Brockton into their own territory. Maybe get them into a 3-and-out, force them to punt into the wind again. We've seen how Brockton can punt into the wind. It hasn't really looked pretty for them. Bridgewater-Raynham just trying to set up that field position battle right here.
Brian, we've seen a huge shift in strategy. You mentioned Morrison, normally the starting quarterback. What's happened to the normal starting running back?
Well, we always see this. Bjorn likes to just, Bjorn always likes to, throw some wrinkles at you. You just hear these creaks and these sounds, and you wonder, oh my God, is the world coming to an end? But in Thanksgiving Day, that's you see him play. A lot of the differences. You play different players. Just kind of get some playing time, see what you have for next year, and see if he can get things going. I don't know if there's also maybe an injury that was involved, but it's very common to see on Thanksgiving Day some different players play for Coach Buron.
I think the biggest ones paying the price for the cold and the wind are the coaching staffs and the camera guys on top of the press box here. Just saw Matt Campbell come down, and he looks like an ice block.
Yeah.
Can't be too fun up there.
Some of the Warriors up there filming this football game. It's going to be close.
I think he got it. I think that linesman has him just a couple of yards past, not yards, but a couple of inches past that first down marker.
That was Denilson Da Silva on the carry, his first of the day. And they're going to call for a measurement with 41 seconds to go.
Brockton get any sort of drive going here, even if it doesn't result in points, you take a lot of time off the clock. You get the ball down and deep in into BR's territory. You force BR to really drive the field into the wind going into the fourth quarter. I mean, you have to say that Brockton has the advantage.
One of the better performances of the day, the cheerleaders doing their best impression of the marching band, singing and cheerleading at the same time.
Can't be easy. You see the BR cheerleaders on the far side of the field. Two, of course, are defending national champion BR cheerleaders there on the far
Couple
side.
time, right?
They have won, I think, 4 of the last 6 state championships, but last year they actually won their first national championship.
Ball's out. Norman's trying to chase it down. He does. But he took punishment for diving after that ball.
Sure did.
That's what you just get the head on the ball right there, pokes it right out, and that would have been a huge thing for BR to get that momentum shift in their favor. But luckily for Brockton, they fall on it.
Yeah, you'll see it right there. Once the helmet hit the football as the ball carrier received the football. Scary moment for the Brockton coaching staff.
And a turnover at that point is very costly. So we've reached the end of the third quarter. It is 6-3. The Boxers have taken their first lead of the game, scored their first points on that Johnny Horn recovered fumble for a touchdown. Brian, Brockton's going to get it going on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. Going into the fourth quarter here, Brockton now is going to be driving with the wind at their back. If you get any sort of offensive, game plan or strategy going here, take as much time as you possibly can off the clock. And that's what you clearly can say that the momentum is in favor of Brockton right now, especially after that scoop and score that they had towards the end of the third quarter. For Brockton, like I said, you don't have to necessarily get points out of this, but just drive the clock down, drive the ball down the field, take as much time off that clock as you possibly can. And you force BR to kind of do somewhat of a hurry-up offense going into the wind.
So momentarily we're going to be joined by a football legend. Stay tuned. We'll let him get set up. But Brockton, they've got, one first down on the afternoon, Brian?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, pretty much BR defensively has done a tremendous job of just stopping Brockton.
All right, we are now joined by a football legend. If you watch any Patriots coverage...
Well, I wouldn't go that far, guys. I wouldn't go that far, but I do want to say Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Happy Thanksgiving to you. It's Steve Burton, of course, of Patriots fifth quarter fame.
Appreciate you having me on. And
quite the game shaping up here.
It's unbelievable. It's been a hard-fought defensive battle, but I take my hat off to the fans out here, to the kids out here, and, it's fun to watch Thanksgiving football here in Massachusetts. It's incredible.
So the temperature is obviously a factor in this one. 16 degrees at this moment. Started off around 12 or 13 with a pretty nasty wind chill factor. We've been talking about what that can do as far as the air pressure in the ball and the strategy as far as passing versus running. Brockton had 36 carries for 285 yards last week. You'd think they'd stick with the run game and just try to wear down the defensive line of Bridgewater-Raynham. BR's defense has held strong against that strategy.
Yeah, they have stepped it up, and I think the elements have definitely been a factor. And these guys, playing through this weather, it's a mental state of mind getting out here and playing through it. And both these teams, I take my hat off to both these guys because they have stepped up today.
Trips to the far side for the Boxers. Navon Reed, the lone wide out to the near side. They give to Denilson Da Silva. He's got gain of a couple, maybe 4 or 5 yards. It is fourth and a very long field. Boxers have to get to the 42 for a first down. They stand at the 22, so it's 4th and 20.
Now, Steve, I have to ask you this. We saw several teams or several games last night played their Thanksgiving Day game.
Right.
Do you feel as if they maybe should have played on Thanksgiving Day?
Well, I have mixed emotions about that because you don't want anybody, football's football. You're going to come out here and play. Ooh.
Takes a very good Brockton
That
bounce.
punt was almost blocked. I was at Fenway last night where my high school played. Framingham played Natick at Fenway Park, and I had mixed emotions walking into Fenway watching these two teams teams play. But you know, it's tough to sit out here and when it's freezing cold. But I'm a cold guy too, so I don't mind it, even though I'm up here in the press box with you guys.
See, I got some extra layers that can
there you go.
Keep me
there you
warm
go.
up here. You know, I was the same way. I had mixed emotions. I said, you know, Thanksgiving Day is meant to be played on Thanksgiving. We saw Braintree and Milton. They were going to play last night, and then I think within 20 minutes, I mean, everyone had an uproar, so they moved it back here Thursday morning. I mean, I understand that you're trying to protect the players, but
I don't mind if both teams agree. To me, as long as the fans can get out and watch and support, and you know, hopefully nobody gets hurt.
Well, we saw that a couple of years ago when Fenway picked up the high school slate. 2 games the Wednesday night, 2 games on Thanksgiving.
Right.
So that's not out of the ordinary. I think you make kind of more of a spectacle of it as opposed to saying we're going to move the game from Thanksgiving Day to the Wednesday. But high school kids playing football at Fenway has got to be a heck of a feeling.
You know, and it makes it easier for the TV stations to cover, to tell you the truth, because you don't have all the games on the same day. So now more teams are getting more exposure.
Absolutely.
You know, when I look at it from a TV side.
I mean, I think it's amazing that they get the chance to play at Fenway Park. I mean, I think it was Zavarian last year. They played at Fenway Park and Gillette Stadium last year.
Right.
That's going to be awesome for the kids to be able to play, especially now the home of the World Series champions.
Exactly. And seeing the eyes and the faces of these kids that came out last night to play, they were amazed by it. Just, you know, walking on the Fenway grass and getting out there and playing. And, you know, I look back in the early days when the Patriots first started, my dad played there. Patriots used to play. People may not know that. Our generation, that Patriots used to play at Fenway Park.
Oh yeah, they played everywhere.
Yeah, they played at Harvard.
BU.
Yeah, BU.
Anywhere they
and
could
and you
traveling
walk into
roadshow.
Fenway, you wonder how in the world can they get a football field in Fenway Park? But sure enough, that's what happened.
Quite the game. The game, Harvard-Yale, was at Fenway this year.
That was at Fenway this year as well, right?
So if you are just joining us, 6-3 your score, Brockton on top in what has become a defensive battle.
It really has. I'm really impressed with the kids out here, especially BR's quarterback, freshman quarterback Austin Hartzell, who's getting a chance to play here. And he's the son of Mark Hartzell, as many people know. And Mark's helped so many kids out in the quarterback position, including my son Austin. But seeing his son play, he's got quite an arm on him, and pretty talented kid.
Yeah, normally Anthony Morrison is your quarterback, who's lined up at running back all day.
And this kid can run. Morrison can run.
Hartzell back to pass, throwing across his body. And he caught that for a first down for the Trojans at the 35-yard line.
Yeah, looking for Jeff Ciccio, old reliable there. That's why he's got the Division I offers coming his way. The big receiver, you find him, he gets his good body position, using his good hand position there, gets that first down for the Trojans.
So, Steve, we briefly touched on high school sports. This is actually the second time you've joined me in the booth. The last, of course, being in February at Newton South High School for a girls basketball matchup. So you're very involved with high school sports in Massachusetts, public school high school sports, which is very great to see. Why is it all important?
I think it's important to give back, and I always want to be able to help a kid. So many people have helped my kids throughout the years that I always want to support both teams, no matter who I'm watching. I want everybody to succeed, and that's what my dad taught me, and I just want to be able to give back to all kids and give them confidence. It's the parents are sitting and watching their children play. Some may have good games, some may not have good games, but it's all about really getting better. And so you always want to lift a kid's spirit, and I can't miss high school football on Thanksgiving, especially in Brockton.
It's tradition.
Me? It's tradition. That's exactly right.
Morrison has a gain of about 5. The press box is starting to fall apart.
That one kind of shook the press box. I wasn't expecting that one.
The latch to get up to the camera well up there is opening with the wind, shaking the whole press box. And of course, we saw you at Stonehill College last year for the graduation. Your mom, honorary degree.
That's right. That's right. Stonehill's been very good to our family, and We have a camp for kids that they take in and give scholarships to our kids at Stonehill College.
So with the defense we've seen here today, we got to ask you, is there any reason to doubt the Patriots in the last couple weeks of the regular season?
No. And I say that with my heart and my head, to tell you the truth. You got Bill Belichick, who's the best coach ever. Okay, so they make adjustments. They will figure out a way to get it done, in my opinion. And I was with the Patriots yesterday in their locker room talking to these guys, and they're fired up and ready to go. They know they have not clicked yet, and they plan to in the second half of the season, especially coming off this bye.
We're going to have a false start against the Trojans here. So that'll back them up.
Steve, going back to the Patriots, does it concern you that they really haven't clicked and we're getting into late November here? I mean, normally this is when they start to really get going, and this is where they start to pull away from the NFL, and they're really not quite doing that.
No, they haven't. No, you're right about that. And I think that I was talking to a couple guys in the locker room yesterday. They know that, and it starts with practice, so they are trying to speed things up and get on the same page. I mean, you got different guys coming back, and hopefully Gronk will be, taking it to another level. Coming off this bye week, and they'll get it together. They always seem to.
Well, I think we've seen really a crazy shift. If you remember, the Patriots started 1-2, and they rattled off 6 straight wins.
Right, they rattled off.
They've been close wins.
Right,
but win's a win.
Win's a win.
So in terms of click, the offense seemingly has clicked to get the big plays when you need them. It's really been the defense that has let the other team stay in the game.
Mm-hmm. No question about it. BR just picked up another first down here. And now they're driving. Hartzell, another completion.
First down on the 21-yard line. I formation, split receivers. Hartzell throwing and broken up. That was a Johnny Horn, who is responsible for the lone Boxers score on the day.
It looks like they're trying to find Huron there on that far sideline. Good job just to knock the ball away. The ball's thrown up a little bit in the air, and I think the wind took it a little bit. I think he wanted to get there a little bit sooner. But you got to deal with the elements.
Yeah, it's so windy down there.
We got a short 3 minutes and 45 seconds left in regulation.
Imagine this game goes back into overtime like they did a few years ago.
Hartzell gives to Morrison, stopped immediately. Might have even lost a yard. It'll be 3rd and 11.
Again, yeah, you're in 4-down territory. You don't have to try to get all 11 of those yards right back here on this one play.
So, Steve.
Yes, sir.
Armin Colombo, passing away a couple of weeks ago. This we got a memorial. Talk about his legacy in high school football and football in general in Massachusetts.
What he's done for so many kids, the families that he's touched. I got a chance. He was my coach for the Shriners game. And my dad was alive. He told me you can learn so much from not only from him but from his family. And he just brought so many kids along. He taught you not just about the game of football, about the game of life. And he just gave back, and I just love the man. I love the family. I love what he stood for. I love what he represented. And boy, he's just touched so many lives. Touched mine tremendously.
And he was coaching practices even in this season when he stepped away from the sidelines during the games. He was still at practice every day after school.
He was a guy that really taught me about being consistent. The reps, consistent, doing it over and over and over again. And as you do it over and over again, you get better. And he just taught so many kids that over the years. My dad used to have a saying, the same coaches win every year, the same coaches lose every year. And he was all about winning.
winningest coach in Brockton High School history, responsible for just about every say. Here's a trick play. Morrison throwing back to Hartzell, the Philly special, and Hartzell's got a path to the end zone, diving in, touchdown Trojans.
Now, we see that often this year with Bridgewater-Raynham, but Morrison was usually the quarterback under center throwing to Hartzell. But, you know, you see that play, the Philly special, it's so popular. I mean, colleges do it now. We're seeing in the high school game doing it. And of course, you have high school. I mean, everyone's an athlete. They can throw the ball. Everyone, even the offensive linemen, they say, yeah, give me the ball. I can throw it out there, too.
That was a smart call by the Brockton, by the BR coaches.
Oh, Lord, don't take us back to that game that happened in February.
Let's not do that.
I think that play has gained so much notoriety.
No
Everybody's trying it. The
You're
Titans pulled it off
That's
last
right.
week.
That's right.
The Colts, too. High snap. The kick is up. And the kick hooks inside the right upright and is good. 10-6. So now the Boxers have to score a touchdown in short order, something they have not done on the offensive side of the ball today. And Brian, I mean, if you're the Boxers, what do you do in the next 45 seconds before Michael Norman gets back on the field to get the offense right?
I mean, Brockton really hasn't been able to move the ball all day. I mean, you mentioned that they had nearly 300 yards rushing last week. They're going to have to start throwing the ball here eventually, and they've had some open chances to do it. But, you know, for Brockton here, I mean, the game's certainly not over. I mean, one touchdown, you get in there, and I mean, of course you have to go for the touchdown. You can't really go for the field goal because they made that extra point. But, you know, that missed extra point that Brockton had for their scoop and score could come back to haunt them if they don't get into
Then
the
you're
end zone
talking about
here.
kicking a field goal with the wind, and you got a pretty good situation on your hands.
Yeah, absolutely. But now that you missed that field goal, all of a sudden, I mean, you missed that extra point, all of a sudden, now you have to drive the length of the field. Brockton's going to have to start throwing the ball here. I mean, the run just isn't there, and it hasn't been there all afternoon.
Which is very different from what we've seen pretty much all season.
Of course, though, you know, in the cold weather, you have to deal with the elements. And I don't think people understand, you know, when you get the cold weather like you have here today, it's not really the wind that's going to throw you off. It's just how slick the ball is. I mean, we've seen a couple of throws that just slips right out of your hand, and we've seen even receivers drop the ball just because of how slick the ball is from the temperature outside.
A second BR kickoff has found its way out of bounds, so there will be another re-kick from 5 yards back. I don't disagree with the strategy by Peter Colombo here, having them re-kick into the wind. And on top of that, you have to have a Trojan hold the ball because the wind has picked up yet again.
Yeah, just try to do that squib kick down the middle of the field, let it bounce around and see if you can get anyone to catch it. I mean, there's a huge gap there between the 40-yard line and the 20-yard line where there's pretty much no one in there. So just kick this one on the middle of the field, just on the ground, squibbing.
They go high end over end and dropping dead at the 33-yard line, fielded cleanly. So we'll have perhaps the last look of the afternoon at Michael Norman and the Boxers offense that has been sputtering and running on fumes for the majority of the day.
Yeah, now like you said, you have the wind at your back now. You have to take advantage of that. And you have to throw the ball downfield. You can maybe try to run 3 minutes down the field, but BR's done a good job of stopping that.
We've seen a lot of strange coincidences the last couple of weeks. Trips to the far side, Norman in the shotgun. He gives off to Amik Watterson. Has a gain of about 5 yards.
You know, we see the last couple of plays there, Brockton 3-4 receiver sets, spread that defense out for Bridgewater-Raynham, run up the middle against BR. I mean, Duxbury did that, Zavarian did that, Dartmouth tried it to an extent against BR. I mean, Duxbury and Zavarian were extremely successful in it, and Dartmouth really wasn't. And now you see again, Brockton's having some success doing that with this Trojans defense.
No huddle will bring up a first down for the Boxers. Amik Watterson gaining that one. So I mentioned the strange coincidences. Steve, last question about pro football.
Yeah, sure.
Alex Smith breaking his ankle the same way that Joe Theismann did. Almost intercepted by the Trojan defense. That would have sealed it. But Alex Smith breaking his leg on the same yard line on the same side of the field 33 years to the day.
To the day. Seeing that, and I got to know Joe Theismann over the years, and talking to Joe, he had trouble obviously going back and looking at that injury. To see him do it, it's obviously tragic, and hopefully people respond in different ways. Hopefully he'll be all right and he'll recover. But boy, football takes its weird turns.
I've always thought of Alex Smith as a very underrated quarterback. Drafted ahead of Aaron Rodgers, had some great years in San Francisco, and then got hurt. Colin Kaepernick took over. We all know how that went. And then he had phenomenal time in Kansas City. And then they drafted Patrick Mahomes. There's Meek Watterson as the ground game has finally started to get going. First down boxers on the Trojan side of the field.
The thing about Alex Smith was that he was pretty much an accurate quarterback. He didn't have a whole lot of flash, but just consistently got it done. But I think you're right. I think he was very underrated.
Norman back to pass, looking long, and he's got Navon Reed. Reed breaks a tackle to the 10, the 5, touchdown Boxers.
That may come back.
Yeah, I think that's a clear offensive pass interference.
Yeah, that may come back.
Clear. But going back to those injuries, if I'm not mistaken, I think Romeo Crennel was on the sideline for both of those games, for the Theismann injury and the Alex Smith injury. If I'm not mistaken,
You may be right about that.
We'll have to check the tape and see if he was standing on the same spot both times, because there's been some wacky coincidences with that one. So let's shift to the Thanksgiving questions. They're asking for a replay. Here it is. We'll take a look at the replay. You're watching number 88, right side of your screen. Yeah, that's. Yeah.
You see the arm movement. I think they kind of tangled feet up, but the referee in real time like that, you see someone fall, you see the arms extend. That's why you throw the flag. I think we have another flag here. This is coming back even more for Brockton.
Is it unsportsmanlike on the coaches?
Either that or a sideline warning.
15-yard unsportsmanlike on the Boxers' sideline. So, Steve, let's shift to the Thanksgiving questions while they take some time to walk this one back. What is the must-have side on the table tonight for you?
I am a big sweet potato.
Sweet potatoes.
Sweet potatoes, okay. I can respect that.
Do you go baked sweet potatoes, mashed sweet potatoes, sweet potato pie?
I'm a big sweet potato pie guy.
I love sweet potato pie.
I am. That and apple pie.
Absolutely.
Not my favorite. Gotta have that.
Sweet potato pie, give me any day over pumpkin pie. I don't get the big thing with pumpkin pie.
I hear you.
Timeout, Trojans.
Timeout called by Bridgewater-Raynham. Next question.
Go ahead.
Is gravy considered a side? We're getting looks from the entire booth.
Gravy
I've gotten
side?
50-50 on the votes on this one.
My guy to my right saying it's a condiment.
I agree with that. But half the people I've talked to say it absolutely is a side.
No, I got to go with my guy. I agree with you. I think it's a condiment.
I don't think it's a side.
I don't think it's a side either. I think it's mandatory.
It's absolutely mandatory.
It's mandatory.
You have to.
Right? You can't have dry turkey. But I think it's a condiment. Yeah, that's what we're going with. Right?
All right, so white meat, dark meat, something in between.
See, you got to be politically correct now. Right? You got to go with both. But I'm more of a dark meat guy.
White meat, I find, is just too dry. Even when you douse it in the condiment. Even when you douse it in the condiment of gravy.
See, that's how I am. I agree with you. I think it's a little too dry.
All right, cranberry sauce or cranberry jelly?
I'm the cranberry sauce guy. You may be the jelly guy.
I'm somewhere in between. My grandmother used to make a mold, and what a catch by Amik Watterson! Watterson to the 35, the 30, the 25. Finally knocked out of bounds all the way down at the 13-yard line. And, Brian, there's your explosive offensive play we've been looking for all day.
Yeah, the missed tackle there, a couple of them for Bridgewater-Raynham is the reason why he gets down that near sideline, gets into prime scoring position here with under 90 seconds left in the fourth quarter.
What a game.
This game always finds a way to turn out sneaky competitive.
Yeah, you know, Brockton had a 1st and 40 after a couple of, penalties there, and you sit there and you go, all right, it's over for Brockton. And you see the couple of missed tackles right there, and just down that near sideline he goes.
Now they give to Watterson, trying to get to the near sideline. A gain of a couple, and let's talk about Amik Watterson. He moved up right after the school year from Tennessee. Not used to the climate that he's playing in today, and what a performance he's had.
He really has, and to see a guy, it's not easy to make those adjustments, to make the move and to come here and play, fit in, and all of a sudden try and take over. That says a lot about him.
So it's second and about 8, all the way down on the 20-yard line for the Boxers after the huge gain for Amik Watterson. There is 1 minute and 13 seconds to go, and there's the missed tackles, and what a throw by Michael Norman into double coverage there.
See, your safety is going for the interception right there. That's not the smart play. You just go for the tackle. High school, you see the opportunity to make that game-clinching interception. At that point, just go for the tackle, get him out of bounds, and you're still forcing a long second down here for Brockton. But because of that, the missed tackles gets down the sideline to the 19-yard line, and under 90 seconds left, and Brockton has an opportunity to put this in the end zone.
I don't want to jinx it, but I think if you score here...
Well, that's what announcers do. We've been doing it all afternoon, so...
3 receivers set. Norman gives off to Watterson, lowers the head to the 15-yard line.
Yeah, I think Colombo is just trying to, is run as much as he can, take as much time off of the clock and put it in the end zone to give Bridgewater-Raynham pretty much no chance to make a comeback.
Norman, quarterback keeper, he shuttle runs up to the 10-yard line. And that'll bring up a 1st and goal, if I'm not mistaken, from the 10. Now 40 seconds to go, and a timeout.
So, Steve, I have a non-football question for you. It's kind of been burning my head here. The Celtics last night lose to 4-14 next team. I mean, are the Celtics in danger right now?
Good question. I don't think they are, only because of their coach. I think Brad Stevens is the best coach in the NBA. Talking about coaches, we talk about, Bill Belichick and these guys. We're blessed to have
absolutely.
We have 4
coaches.
phenomenal coaches.
Right? Think about where we live, and the coaches that are representing the pro teams are phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I think Brad Stevens will figure out a way to turn this team around. They have to. I know they're scratching their heads right now. And Brad Stevens said last night after the game, right now we're just not that good. We're just not, but they will figure out a way to do it.
Now, do you think that Gordon Hayward should be more of a second rotation type of player?
No, I think Gordon Hayward, I think he's going to be fine. I think, he's coming off that huge injury. And he had Gordon Hayward, believe it or not, had a good game last night. Scored, I believe, like 19 points. He did pretty well for the Celtics. So he's coming along slowly.
Norman, quarterback keeper, driving ever closer to the end zone. He'll be marked at the 1 with 34 seconds to go. And another timeout taken on the field by the Boxers. So it's 10-6.
I'm going to say goodbye to you guys. I just want to say happy Thanksgiving to you.
Happy Thanksgiving, Steve. Thanks for joining us
Don't
again.
eat too much. All right?
Not possible.
Okay.
If you're just joining us, that was Steve Burton, host of Patriots Fifth Quarter, among many other shows on WBZ TV, and high school sports legend. It is 10-6, Trojans up, but the Boxers on the doorstep. Norman, quarterback keeper Watterson, pushes them from behind. No signal yet.
a couple of
He was-
efforts.
he was
I don't-
in.
No sign yet. I mean, usually if you don't get a quick sign from the refs, that's when you know he's not going to get in. And
The 11 referees wearing camouflage jerseys on the
Touchdown!
field. And there's the sign, a late sign. Touchdown Boxers. And they take a lead with 18 seconds to go.
Wow, that was just great play calling. Just push it forward. You saw the quarterback sneak two times, 3 times, possibly in a row, and the offensive line did their job, and the running backs to push the quarterback forward to get over that goal line.
And Amik Watterson made that play by running into the back of Michael Norman and just giving him the second wind to get across the line. You talk about a delayed call. That took about 45 seconds.
Yeah, normally, if you don't get a quick call from the referees, you usually don't get that touchdown call. I mean, because, of course, when people hear the whistle, they give up. You put the ball over the goal line anyways, and that's where.
Ball is snapped. The kick is up.
How was that?
And the kick is good. I mean,
that
went right between a couple of Trojans there.
Well, I think that's one of those things where it's cold and you sit there and you go, well, if I put my hand out, I'm sure my fingers are going to get snapped off because they're frozen.
In slow motion, the football just gets through the uprights. But I tell you, the key play again was that great catch.
The catch in double coverage by Amik Watterson.
And really, both defenders were going after the football. That's why he was able to break away. It wasn't like one of them was trying to tackle. They both were going after that football, as you saw in the replay a couple of times. That was just a great catch of the year
I think
for
there was
the
a
Boxers.
play. What was it? Last year's play was the Saints and Vikings, wasn't it? The defensive back goes for just an awful tackle or the interception.
The Stephon Diggs catch,
he gets the touchdown
61-yarder.
I mean, had the safety just gone for the tackle there, I mean, you don't know if Brockton gets down the field, but, after the catch and run.
We'll find out.
You can say the ghost of Armin Colombo has touched this football field this afternoon here on this Thanksgiving Day. First, that bad call when
I mean, what a couple of performances by the Boxers in the wake of Armin Colombo's passing. 34 points in a win against Taunton, 42 against Barnstable the following week, and now we've got a defensive battle that the Boxers have finally taken and scored an offensive touchdown in, and a good return here for the Trojans all the way up to the 33-yard line.
yeah, that was a tough call on Navon for the offensive pass interference. As we saw it on the replay, it looked like it could have went either way. It was very close. Should have got the home call, but we didn't. But Boxers did not. They got knocked down in the ring. Matt got back up and kept fighting like they normally do. And again, Coach Armin Colombo will be very proud of his team this afternoon. To not give up when it didn't look good.
And while we're on the subject of Boxer legends, as the defense sets up three-man rush, we've lost Armin Colombo this year. Vinny McCreen is not going to be in charge of the marching band next year, possibly retiring.
Yeah, our hats off to him.
The entire football experience here at Marciano Stadium is going to be completely different next year.
Yes, it is. And I was a freshman when the band leader came on board. I was reading the paper. I didn't realize that was his first year up here at Brockton High School. The new Brockton High.
Four wideouts for the Trojans as Hartzell throwing across his body. Incomplete pass. Falling out of bounds was number 3 for the Trojans, Shane Fries. So we've just about seen it all here today. A defensive touchdown, an offensive touchdown.
Just missing the safety.
Just missing the safety.
I'm just watching Coach Colombo walked down the sidelines, looked just like his dad walking, same stature, a man that knows he's got a victory on Thanksgiving Day. And this is a sweet victory because, we were talking, Brian, Bridgewater basically has had the table here with Brockton on Thanksgiving Day. I think this is probably will be the only second win Brockton can pull out.
Navon Reed is going to get to Hartzell here, and it's a sack at the 21-yard line as time expires, and the Boxers will get the victory and move to 2-7 in the Cape Cod Cafe Cup. Guys, what a crazy one here at Marciano Stadium today.
What an awesome win. After losing arguably one of the greatest, not only high school football coaches in the state, maybe in this country. And then you come out, you destroy Taunton 34-3 after that. You come out, you play a Bridgewater-Raynham team you've only beaten once on Thanksgiving Day. And, it's essentially defense that sealed the victory there for Brockton and, a poor defensive play for Bridgewater-Raynham. But what a way to send out Armand.
Miles, the Boxers now undefeated in games since Armand's passing. What does this mean to the coaching staff and Peter Colombo?
Oh, it just means so much to the coaching staff. It means even much more to Peter Colombo as he honored his dad by getting a win. And he did it in a very exciting way of getting a win this afternoon this morning, and now we're in the afternoon here at Rocky Marciano Stadium. Just a great effort by the whole team not to give up when it didn't look good, and especially after that. Again, I have to say that pass interference call on Navon, and it was iffy, but they came back and got the pass and got back down there and punched it in for the score.
So we're talking about the Tuxedos by Marion, most valuable player of the game for each team. I mean, for the Boxers, it's got to be Amik Watterson.
Yeah, Watterson, but I like Navon Reed because all game he was making, as you saw in that
He's the
last
one that
sack,
forced the fumble that led to a Johnny
Exactly.
Horns recovered touchdown.
Made the catch for the touchdown, but it was brought back, and then you saw the last play of the game. He just pushed his blocker out the way and bear hugged the quarterback to end the game in stylish fashion.
Brian, player of the game for each side.
That's a tough one. I mean, Watterson just at the end, he was just imposing his will on everyone. You get that little bit of jolt in your step, and you just destroy everyone. It seems like you couldn't really be brought down. On the side of Bridgewater-Raynham, that's a tough one. I mean, Anthony Morthen, I think, had a great game. I mean, he had a touchdown throw there, of course, to Austin Hartzell, and he ran the ball pretty effectively for the Trojans, so can't imagine how he wouldn't get it.
And I think I got to go Morrison for the Trojans. He had a phenomenal day. The normal quarterback lining up at starting running back today, and then, of course, throwing the pass back to Hartzell, which
He
was,
does win it.
I mean, Philly special. As much as I hate that play for what it did to the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
It's such a good play.
And your MVP.
So it's Morrison for the
17.
There you go.
Trojans and Watterson for the Boxers. I think I nailed that one.
Yes, you did, Matt. Yes, you did. Great team effort again.
Boxers move to 2-7 in this game, which will be a divisional matchup next year, Miles.
That's the great part of it. Divisional matchup next year means a lot more, and we'll be down in Bridgewater-Raynham as Brian will be hosting us down there.
Absolutely. I just hope it's a little bit warmer.
Yeah.
And less
Hopefully.
windy.
So the final score is 13-10. The Boxers getting the victory as we see Michael Norman hoisting the Cape Cod Cafe Cup. The Boxers for just the second time, the first since 2012.
I believe so.
Wow.
So nobody on this team has won this game in their high school career before, and they did now on perhaps the most important one for Boxer football in history after the passing of Armand Colombo.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no better way to do it in the last game here. Of course, for the seniors, this is their last, a lot of them, the last, football game that they're ever going to play in their life. And, of course, you have the passing of Armand Colombo a few weeks ago, just so fitting.
Brian, your final thoughts on the game?
I think it just came down to, mistakes from Bridgewater-Raynham. The fumble, the scoop and score, your safety there going for the interception and not the tackle. And, Brockton took advantage of those two plays. Other than that, their defense did a good job against Brockton. And offensively for the Trojans, because of the cold and the wind, your running attack really couldn't get much going. It got you where you needed to go. But other than that, Bridgewater-Raynham took advantage of just good field position.
Miles?
Yeah, I have to piggyback on that, Brian. Yeah, Bridgewater-Raynham, their defense played a great game. It's just that Brockton's defense came up with that big fumble recovery and put it in for a score, and that lifted Brockton's spirits on offense as well as defense. They overcame a couple of bad calls and still was able to punch it in with very little time left on the clock. So good clock management by Brockton's coaching staff to enable their kids to get into the end zone.
Brockton High getting the victory 13-10. From everyone here at Bridgewater Television, Brockton Community Access, headed up by Jeff Fowler, Mark Lindy, respectively. Happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next year.
Happy Thanksgiving to all.
Colombo, 18 years now, came to the Boxers in 1969. We asked him if this Super Bowl would be any different from the previous 7 that he's played in.
It's always different. It's always different. Different group of guys. The appreciation that the kids get from accomplishing something that they set out to do a long time ago. The looks in their faces and everything else about it is very special, very unique, and positively very, very special.
Team in Super Bowl history as the celebration begins.
There it is, baby. Oh, they got him. The Boxers are back. Back where they belong.
Armin Colombo wouldn't have it any other way either. He's just as concerned about good young people as he is about good young players, and that's been a trademark of Brockton teams.
Big third down for the Brockton offense. And they give it to Johnson. He's got an opening. There he goes, folks. They're not going to catch him. They're not going to catch him. He's gone, folks. Electrifying run by Richard Johnson, the senior. Comes out of nowhere and just stuns Everett. It's a new ball game, folks. Ball game's over. I think Everett was a little confused. And Brockton High School is the new 2004 MIAA Division I champions.
Win number 305 for Coach Armin Colombo to break the tie with Coach Bill Broderick for the most wins ever by a Massachusetts high school football coach.
goes to the outside, breaks a tackle. Folks, he's going to go in for a touchdown. Junior Penn with the 14-yard carry into the end zone. Hyman at quarterback, drops back, looks, fires, and he dropped it! Final snap of the 2005 season, your Brockton Boxers are the Super Bowl Division I champions of 2005.
Rudy Harris. Literally vaulted into the end zone in the arms of a Woburn player, 6-0 Brockton, with 4:38 remaining in the first half of the football game here at Sullivan Stadium. Brockton 6, Woburn.
First and 10 from the 15. Campbell following the block of Harris. Tries to break outside. He does. He's to the 10. He's got some room. He may be in. Touchdown. That says it all, I think. Pretty nice. Zuritzkis gives off to Harris. Showing some speed. Showing some end zone. Oh, he's got one guy.
There's never a best team or a worst team as far as undefeated teams are concerned. They're all great, and this team ranks with the all-time Brockton High School regular season undefeated teams.